one who is severely handicapped needs to fear that they will get paid any less. In fact, they're going to see an increase. We want them to be able to earn more money before losing their benefits. And we're hearing a lot of support in the disabilities community.
This province is the only province that is actually expanding disability supports. This province is the only province that is actually expanding disability supports.
AISH Actions Revolutionary Podcast.
Chantal and Gavin.
You have now entered the no bullshit zone.
And hello everybody and welcome to, oh, I'm peeking again, holy shit. Welcome to AISH Actions Revolutionary Podcast. I am your host, Gavin Sorosian, and I have my other host. She is in no way a co-host, she is a host de jour, of the day, shall we say. Ladies and gentlemen, Chantal.
Hey guys.
Hey. If I get anything wrong today, I've been forgetting really simple shit. Stuff. I can't say shit. First 30 seconds of Facebook. And I just did twice. Or, not Facebook. YouTube. And I just said it twice now. So, I'm just going to adjust some levels here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm like off the chart loud. Huh. There we go. Good. So, wow, what a weekend. What a weekend, like really every other weekend. How was your weekend?
It was awesome.
Yeah, what'd you get up to?
Oh God. Where is it here? I ended up getting into one of my novels, and I went from chapter 7 all the way up to chapter 35.
Oh, shut up. Really?
Yeah. The creative mojo was just flowing this weekend, so I took advantage of it, and now I'm 35 chapters in.
Oh my God. You wrote that much?
Yeah.
Well, that's an inspiring weekend then, because, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know if you're a writer, they just say, just write. Whatever comes out on any given day, if you get one line, you're lucky. And you wrote...
No, it's been chapters.
Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, wow. That is crazy. That is literally nuts.
Yeah, 28 chapters in less than 48 hours.
28 chapters. How many pages per chapter?
The one that I'm currently working on, I'm sitting at 9 pages, so 3,500 words about.
Oh my God. Well, you know, I swept my floor this weekend. Okay.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Okay. So, there you go, smarty pants.
You were working on videos though too.
I was working on the video, and ladies and gentlemen, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's going to be here very shortly. I'm hoping by Friday maybe we can release it. So, you know, Friday might be the day. It's tough to get through the last part of it because you want it to really start hitting, right? But anyway, I won't bore you with the details. It should be out by then. I'm going to go to the chat and just say hello to all of our amazing friends. Megan says, hey Megan, how you doing? Annette says, hi Chantal, Gavin and everyone, hello. Sam says, hi. Certainty's back. Cool, good to see you, Certainty. Says hello everyone. And Megan says, damn Chantal, like that's a lot. I think she's alluding to.
That's what? Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, one of the group members ended up asking me if, you know, because I had mentioned to her at one point that I'm kind of into noveling. Like I've got 7 books on the go, but I haven't finished one yet.
Oh.
And she asked for a few chapters, so I sent her the first couple thinking, yeah, okay, it's going to be nothing big, right?
Yeah.
And she came back and she goes, I need more chapters. Send me more chapters. So I got her up to chapter 7.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, now she's chomping at the bit, right? She wants more chapters, and it was, oh my God, I've never let anybody read my writing
Yeah,
like
I
that.
don't even think.
So
Have I read it? No, no. I've seen like
no,
covers. I've seen like, your
yeah, the
artwork.
one cover that I posted.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, you sent me some covers, and I looked at them, and I
Oh
thought they were
yeah, for the
great.
Oz, the Return to Oz series. Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, but I've never seen. I've never read.
Yeah.
And that says you're going to get writer's cramp. Yeah, like writer's cramp of the brain. My God. Like, yeah, like your brain is going to just cramp up. I've fallen and I can't get up in the brain. Certainty says, what is the genre of book you're writing? Can you?
So this one here, it's a forensic psychological thriller
Yep.
that slowly reveals its urban fantasy.
Oh, wow. That
If
sounds
that
complex.
helps. Oh, it is.
Say that
It's
again.
about It's about police officers.
About police officers. Okay.
Yeah,
The good, the bad, the indifferent.
kind of, but it's got like the fantasy element. So you've got werewolves and shapeshifters and people with magical abilities and that kind of thing. So it's not your regular run of the mill, just boring genre, and it's a little bit on the smutty side.
Oh, so a little 50 Shades there as well?
Oh yeah.
Ah,
Oh yeah.
okay. Well, now I'm interested.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Werewolves, shapeshifters, like any Calgary police station, really, I know of anyway. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Very interesting. When do you think you would actually release something like
Well,
this?
I'm probably I'll probably self-publish it through Amazon just because, and then it'll be available through probably the Kindle, and then we'll see how that goes. Because of course I've never done anything like this before, right? And I don't want to, send it to a publisher and get negative feedback or anything like that. Everybody's really self-publishing these days, so it's like, yeah, I want to see where that goes.
An editor, though. Get an editor. Definitely get an
Yeah.
editor. Work with an editor. Just for the whole readability, aspect of it, and and the, what would you call it? The flow, the internal flow, the dynamic elements, and
Yeah, gotcha.
everybody works with an editor. Even I work with an editor.
We'll see.
Yeah, well, we shall see. But that's pretty inspiring, man. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
That's fantastic. Megan says, yes, that's what I meant. I am massively impressed by that kind of output. Yeah, well, right. You and me both, sister. And Certainty says, oh, nice. It is nice. It's very nice. Before we get going today, I just want to speak on a few things. I noticed a couple other podcasts this weekend, in particular one today. And, our whole idea here is to really get out as much information as we can to as many people as we can, because I feel that not only does this affect every disabled individual in Alberta, it really could potentially, and we could make really every argument for it, that it's going to start affecting every person with a disability in Canada, right? And so one of those things is going to be, like, one way to get out, what we're talking about, what we're discussing. And I think, if I was left to my own devices, I wouldn't say this, but because I have somebody, as good as Chantal, holding down the factual reins of this podcast, I feel really comfortable proliferating this material across the spectrum. And so, but what do I could really use this, because I'm the one in charge of the technical side of everything. And I could really use somebody to edit this material down into smaller bites and get it out onto platforms that I'm not all that familiar with. Now, that may not be any of the 9 people in the chat or listening to this at the moment, but we do have 222 subscribers. And so that is, I am looking at less than 0.5% of somebody out there being the guy or gal that says, oh my God, I'm good at that. You know, that's my jam. That's what I do. And I certainly wouldn't want anybody that doesn't know what they're doing or is disinterested in that type of thing. It's editing work, right? I mean, you can be creative about it, and it's pretty cool in its own right, but you got to be excited about it. And I am a firm believer that people shouldn't do what they're not good at. That doesn't mean, you know, you shouldn't brush your teeth. You know, you shouldn't help build a road. We all have to partake in community, but, you know, like, you should stick to your lane and really do what you do well, right? I remember walking by this book at this bookstore at Chantal when I was a very younger lad, you know, in my early 20s. And I would walk by it when I was practicing from the church to Max, get a drink, walk back, and I always walked by this bookstore. And the name of the book was Do What You Love and the Money Will Come.
Yeah.
And of course, the money never came, but that's immaterial to the case. Really what it's saying is, you know, whether the money comes or not, do what you love. And I am such a firm believer in that you should do what you're good at, and once again, partake in community. And, you know, if somebody's, you know, if you got to lift that rock, you know, to get it, then do that. But that's not where you should put your emphasis. You should put it in the things that you're amazing at, or that you really have a passion for, that you want to grow in, that you want to become masterful in. You know, if you take a look at my life, that's what I've done. And although the money never came necessarily, there was a lot of joy. And I felt like I was being myself. I felt like, you know, this is my contribution to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same could be said for what Chantal's doing right now, whether it's writing her novels or partaking in the work that she does. She's really operating at her strengths every day, and therefore it's not work, it's a joy.
Yeah.
Would I be wrong?
Nope, that's why I haven't burnt out yet. I
Exactly.
enjoy what I'm doing.
Exactly. And so where does burnout come from? It comes from, you know, like putting a, you know, like whatever, like working on an assembly line, putting a widget on a spoke that has no meaning to you and has no meaning for your life, except that, you know, somehow somebody's able to make some money off of your labor. That's not fulfilling, and you will burn out. When you're doing what you love, not only can you sustain it longer, but you know when you need to just relax. Like this weekend, Chantal went from, you know, proliferating her page to writing chapters of a novel, right? And none of that feels like burnout, and I feel the same way. You know, even when I was flying here, there, and everywhere, the traveling was taxing, but the work wasn't. So I was excited about getting to the new city or whatever, right? And being able to set up and play and do what I love. So I'm putting it out there. If anybody is good at editing big things like 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour podcasts into smaller chunks, like anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, and you want to take the work that we're doing and do that, I will work with you should you need to know the ropes of such a thing. Although it's so easy, even a drummer could do it, obviously. And I'll help you through that process. And, you know, let me know. Because that's pretty serious stuff that I think, you know, we want to get out into the, you know, into the mainstream. Certainty says consciousness times actions equals manifestation. Yeah, right. And, you know, the consciousness is the desire. The consciousness is what your mind is speaking to you about what it is you might love to do. You know, let's get up off the couch because there's one thing you love, you know, and maybe you can even do it from the couch. But regardless, the consciousness, I think, is the desire. You know, it's like one of the best drum teachers in New York City, I forget what school, not Juilliard, but another one said, you know, the gift is not doing what you do, like drumming, right? The gift is being able to sit for as long as it takes to get good for the sheer enjoyment and pleasure that activity brings you. So I could sit in a basement for 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, with my head in a book, practicing, because I loved just doing that. And it brought me all the pleasure in the world to do that. And then because of that, I got good, because there's no way you can't. There's really no way you can't get better if you're engaged every day in the same process. So it's the love of a thing that causes mastery, right? Not just pulling up your bootstraps and doing shit you hate. It's really not going to get you anywhere except a paycheck and bitter. So if there is somebody out there, let me know, because we really would like that. And like I said, I'll take you through the ropes of all that. Anything else, Chantal? Are we missing anything coming new this weekend that we're not going to talk today?
Well, we know that the check line, the check information line for AISH ADAP has been down since Thursday last week. It should be updated as of today, because it's updated generally the last 5 days before the end of the month.
Yep.
So it should be back up today. That's what we're hoping. But there is a work order internally for them to get that line fixed and updated. So we may not see it, but it doesn't impact our checks.
Okay.
So, because I know that there's a lot of people across multiple groups that are like, oh my God, does that mean I don't get my check? And it's like, no, it means that the phone system is down.
All right. Okay.
So,
Okay, cool.
yeah, try not to panic. It should be payday for either tonight, depending on your bank, or tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, like tonight at midnight, or tomorrow at midnight, or
Yeah.
a facsimile thereof.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. And that says, I checked earlier and nothing.
Yeah. I phoned the check line too this morning, and it's still down.
Okay.
So there is a work order in place. I've had quite a few members come back and say, yeah, they according to AISH ADAP, they know that there's an issue and they're fixing it.
Okay.
So,
okay,
but
cool.
when they get around to it, who knows?
Right, yeah, it's not like we're important. Right?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, how long have I had a phone? And my phone's never been down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, I would love to look into the nuts and bolts of how does that happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
No conspiracy here, ladies and gentlemen. So, Chantal, I'm just going to start by recapping what you were talking about on Thursday, and then I'm going to hand it to you, okay? Is that cool?
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
And if you want to say anything, I just made points. So if you want to jump in and say anything about the points, go ahead. But
Yep.
I'm just going to read those down, and then I'll hand it over to the master. So right here. So the segment one that Chantal mainly was doing a lot of the talking, and I did a lot of talking on Friday, so I'm going to hand it back to the maestro for today. So Chantal's going to do a lot of talking today. But segment one that she talked about is the card in the mail. Okay? Now, I had somebody post, actually, Chantal, today on when I threw out the podcast, the link,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, well, I never goddamn well got my card. And I'm like, I didn't say anything back to them because I was busy,
Yep.
making other plans. But I just thought, well, you're not missing much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the card really doesn't matter. You've had one forever, and you either hang on to the entirety of the letter and never worry about the card. Nobody worries about the card. So the card is not a big deal. It's whether you have it or not doesn't disrupt your daily life. Correct?
It shouldn't. The only thing about the card that has changed, and I'll confirm it again for everybody, is that now instead of just being an X in front of our client numbers, I think that's what it's called. Hang on. Let me grab mine really quick because I want to make sure that I have it right.
Sure.
So our old cards, right? It said recipient card number. Sorry. And all of ours started with an X, and then it would give us our 7-digit number. That was our file number for H. Okay. Now, the new card, and of course, I'm keeping everything organized so I can just pull it whenever I need to. The new card, there are 2 different alphabetical letters that are being used to distinguish the 2 programs. So anybody that got their new card, right, It says Section A. Section A means you were moved to ADAP.
All right.
So that letter A means ADAP.
Okay.
Anybody whose section has an X, you are still on H.
Okay.
So that's almost like a reconfirmation of what group you belong to now.
Okay. Okay, good.
But
And
that's the only thing that's really changed.
yeah. And outside of that, no big whoop, right?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm going to say this now because it's on my mind, and I know I'll forget it if I don't say it right now. There is, I believe, a protest happening in Calgary tomorrow against ADAP. I believe Acorn is putting it on. It starts at Bankers Hall, somewhere around that, I want to say, at 11 a.m., I believe. Okay, so if anyone who is in Calgary or the vicinity and you can make it, I am most likely going to be there because if nothing else, I mean, I'll be protesting too, probably holding the sign, but I definitely want to get some B-roll from that, and I want to film that, so I just wanted to shoot that because I will forget. It just flashed into my mind, and so better said.
So it's a march on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Say no to ADAP and no to disability clawbacks.
Yeah.
Stephen Avenue.
Good. And it starts.
So they're starting at 11 a.m.
Okay.
and it starts at the RBC on 339 8th Avenue Southwest, and they're ending at City Hall.
Okay. So the RBC, I believe, 339 is it's Bankers Hall, the opposite end,
Okay.
and then they're going to march to City Hall. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So cool.
Yes.
And it's a great thing. I mean, Acorn kind of divides their affections a lot, but God bless them for doing this.
I just figured I'd pull it up really quick.
Yeah, they protest everything. They're kind of like, the protest mill of Calgary. But, God bless them. I don't mean that, but you know what I mean. They're doing good work. They're doing the Lord's work. Amen. Sing it again, John. Segment 2 that Chantal talked about was the check line and the deposit. Anything you want to say there?
Again, just that we know that the check line, the check information line, I'll put it that way, is down currently because they're updating it and there is a work order in place. And hopefully they'll get the check information line back up, but it should not impact our benefits this month. If you're really, really worried about it, try and get a hold of, and I say try because I tried to get a hold of somebody today at the office.
Yeah.
At the ADAP call center. That call tree is ridiculous.
Explain.
When you phone in to the new Alberta supports toll-free line, you'll spend 20 minutes trying to navigate their fucking phone system.
Right. It's all
for this, dial 1, for that dial 2, all the way to like 7, and it's like, are you kidding me? It's all going to the same fucking call center.
Oh, I know.
And then they hang up on you when it's too busy.
Yeah, it'll say, sorry, we can't, right? But I try to remember. I try to remember the series of numbers, and then I just, as soon as I can, I'm bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
It's kind of like calling into the radio station back in the 70s. You had to, you know what I mean? Like, to win $100.
You had to race the calls, right?
Yeah, or KISS tickets. At least in this sense, calling the radio station, you kind of got something good out of it.
Well, I think I'm going to end up releasing an email template again because this is ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. All of the calls are going to the same place, but yet they're sorting us through all of these different options. That's not accessible for people.
No, it's demoralizing, actually. It's completely
and a waste of time.
And a waste of time, but demoralizing, especially when you have to take what you said, 20 minutes, maybe that's slight hyperbole, but too long, way too fucking long, and then you get to the end of it just to be rejected and hung up on. I mean, that's demoralizing. Exactly. And do I know that they've constructed it that way? No. Does it feel like it? Yeah. It feels like, why would you ever run through this fucking maze, Yeah,
exactly. I could just imagine, somebody that has, cognitive issues or issues with being able to focus on the monotony and the droning on of a recording, and it's like, this isn't accessible. That's not accessible for people, and it needs to be.
And it's demoralizing.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's demoralizing. It's
Yeah.
like we don't, like a little fucking respect. You know what I mean? You're trying to destroy our lives anyway. Like, so, right? What is respect to these fuckers, right? Sorry, I shouldn't have said fuckers, but I did. So
No, it makes sense. It does.
So, forgive me.
And they shouldn't be doing what they're doing.
It's terrible, man. It's anathema to the human species, but it's also, a slap in the fucking face to everybody out there. That's all it is. Segment 3, the cohabitation rule and the 2 answers. Anything? Do you want to?
That the cohabitation rule is coming into effect with this payday, only if it actually impacts you. So, if you are in a relationship, you have a spouse, or where is it here? I'm going to go through here. So, and it has to do with the Relationship Act, or someone with whom you have a natural or adopted child that is living with you.
Yeah.
So it's not going to hit everybody. This is just for people that fall under that cohabitation rule. It's a lot of people think that everything applies to them too. It doesn't. So if you're living with somebody, you're in a relationship, it's been established, and AISH knows about it, you know that ADAP knows about it. So be ready for that to hit.
Okay. And that was the cohabitation rule and the 2 answers.
Yeah.
Okay. Segment 4 on Thursday, Chantal discussed the transition benefit that isn't in the law. Do you want to?
Yeah, that's them keeping our money frozen at what we're making under ADAP right now. So because we were forcibly transitioned from AISH to ADAP, we qualify for a $200 top-up, which isn't extra money in our pockets. It's just what we were originally making on AISH.
Right. It's complete bullshit. You're being lied to about, this is so that they can get on the fucking news and go, we gave them a top up, and the middle class goes, oh, look at how good they are. There's nothing to it.
Exactly.
Right? They're just not fucking you, but they already did because they took the money away.
And now you're in a forced work program.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. Like the whole thing is Dante's Inferno for us, but they try to make it look cute when there's nothing to it. It's a nothing burger that they're telling everybody, and yet, that way, the middle class will go, well, I guess there's nothing to see. Our government is so good,
Yeah.
Fucking Jesus Christ. So that's...
Now with that transition top up and the cohabitation rule that's coming into place, people are going to see a decrease in their amounts because the cohabitation rule overwrites what this transition benefit is. So even though we are at that, that transition benefit of, I think they're trying to keep us at 1940, which is actually 1740 with the CDB clawback, your amount is going to decrease at least by that $200 when the full floor for ADAP comes into play at the end of 2027.
Right.
So this transition amount is not protected, it's still in place, but the cohabitation rule is still going to bring that down.
Right. Right. Okay. And I think segment 5 is where we stopped.
Yeah.
And so I'll let you pick up. I'm just going to go back to the chat real quick. Is that okay?
No worries.
All right. Because we got a lot of chitty chat going on. Anne Marie says it's the UCP government like they care. Yeah, well, it's the UCP doing it at the moment, but it's really the government. I think you could take out UCP, except for the fact that they're doing it right now, and you could just say government. Like they care. They don't care. You're right. I've already said it's like, the girlfriend or the boyfriend, right? That where your friend has to say, Gavin, I'm sorry, but she's just not that into you. That's your government. They're not that into you. They're just not. They don't give a shit. They care about themselves and their friends. You can kind of look at it like this. They care about themselves, which is this baseline, and everything above it, and nothing below it. Okay? That's, if you need to look at it like, and that's all of government. That's how it operates. That's the system of governance. It's not one party, but does the UCP suck? Of course they do. You'll never hear an argument from me. Should they leave? Yes, but what do we go to? That's another question. What are we left with? You know, not, I guess not the fifth level of Dante's Inferno, but the second, right? And we already know, you know, I was watching podcast today, some liberal dude, and he was talking about how great Wab Kinew is. Well, I'll say Wab Kinew is, he's got a good idea or two, right? Maybe he thinks quite cogently, and if you align with not separating from Canada, which I do, then I can accept what Wab Kinew says. But Wab Kinew also wants to put in institutions, like basically institutionalize the, not the handicap, but the disabled. I always go to handicap, I don't know why. Probably because that's how I grew up and that was the terminology. It wasn't disabled, so I always have to reach for disabled. Regardless, that's not my point. My point is that Wab Kinew is all for institutionalizing the disabled.
Yep.
Right? And
Well, we're seeing that across Canada with that, what is it, Compassionate Act.
Right, Compassionate Act, right? Like, Compassionate Act? Once again, like, we need to get smart about linguistics, ladies and gentlemen, and how linguistics are used against us. So, you know, I don't have time for that, man. Like, if you're gonna, sure, Wab Kinew, you know, he also said something about artists being the ones to really level the playing field again of you know, our society. I sort of believe that, but I sort of don't. Because you can't build your society on the artistic class. You need to build a society on the foundation of a class, on the lowest class. And I don't mean that in terms of your humanity. I mean it, you know, in terms of your station in life. So the homeless class would be first because they're homeless. The disability class, as far as I can tell, would be second. The artistic class may be third. So once again, Wab Kinew, in my estimation, has got it wrong. Would I like him to be right? Sure, I'm an artist. I'd love him to be right. But he's not right. And that was what I struggled with when I was doing the artistic work that I was doing. I'm still doing it, and I'm doing it, you know, in droves. But the one problem I had is that we're not the lowest class. So once again, we're focused too high. Right? I'm shooting too high. I'm not creating a foundation. What is the foundation? And then, lo and behold, I come across what you and I are doing now, right? And I get on AISH and I accept the fact that I'm disabled. And then I realize, oh my God, I'm only one step away from where the true foundation begins. And I do not believe that you can sustain any society on a foundation that is not foundational. So you can't go to the artistic and build it from there. You can't even go to the disabled and build it from there. You have to go from the very base foundation and build it up from there. So why do I say that? I don't know. But I said it. And now I'll move on. It's two different systems. We must be patient. It's two different systems. We must be patient. Do you know what that means, or should we just wait for more information?
I'd wait for more information because I'm not sure which two systems she's talking about,
Okay.
unless it's regarding the new numerous what is it? The new alphanumeric coding for AISH and ADAP on the new cards.
Okay.
Because that would be two systems, but it's more two programs. But it could be, I don't know. I'd wait for more information.
Okay, yeah, certainly. If you could just kind of, like, what are you talking about specifically? That'd be great, and then we can maybe pick that up. Ivy says, I've always got my check the day before. It's never came today. Kind of wonder what the fuck is going on. So she says, I've always got my check the day before.
I'm not sure what she means by the day before what.
Yeah.
There are 31 days this month, and we get our checks 4 days before the end of the month.
Which
4
would be
business days before the end of the month. So it's tonight.
So it's tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
So we should look for them tonight, and you know, hopefully
Tonight
they're
and tomorrow.
there.
Yeah.
And if they're not there tomorrow or tonight or whatever, they'll be there tomorrow night. And if they're not there tomorrow night, then you might want to make a phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Because
and
payday is Tuesday the 28th.
Okay.
So a lot of banks like mine, I'll get it tonight after 10.
Okay. Yeah, today's the 27th. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Ivy also says, oh, and hello, everyone. And oh, and hello to you, Ivy. Nice to meet your acquaintance once again, madame. Certainty says the check line doesn't affect you getting your benefit. No.
Exactly.
Well, no, it doesn't. You just call to find out when you're getting it and what it looks like, perhaps. Certainty says, hello at Ivy. Yeah. Ivy, it's not the check line for me. My bank has always released it at 2 p.m. Wow, 2 p.m.? Wow. The day before for 19 years, but not today. Well, once again, I think it's 4 days before, right?
Yeah.
Which would make it tonight at midnight. Or for you, maybe tomorrow up 2 p.m. I don't know. 2 p.m. seems weird, doesn't it? Mine usually, like anybody I know has gotten theirs in the morning of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting, but cool. Negative. Oh, wait. Unusual, have you called your bank and seeing if they made any updates or adjustments to their system? Negative, says Ivy. It's so the AI can solve your problem, or you need to talk to a human. Okay. And Megan says they are making it as difficult as possible for us on purpose. That's what it feels like to me. It seems to be a subtle form of psychological warfare. Agreed. They just want us to give up and not bother. Yep. Agreed. Certainty retracted a statement, which I'm always curious about. What is that one you retracted? That's okay. Certainty then says, is there a way to avoid mandatory work programs?
Reapply for AISH and hope you get on AISH.
Right.
That's the only way to get out of the mandatory work programs.
Yeah.
Or having to participate in employment activities. That's the only way to get out of that.
Right. You know, I mean, you're right. Like, you're talking about the end game, like when you have to actually work, and there's a whole game that goes on before that.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't go in someday and they go grab a shovel and start digging. That's not how it goes, right?
No.
They're going to take you through a whole bunch of process. And for me, my words remain the same, and I don't make friends with these people because they're not my friends. I don't, you know, try to impress them because I don't have any, they're not worth impressing. And anything that I give them that is positive is there for my destruction. Now, I'm not saying don't tell the truth. I'm saying, but anything that I give them that is anything positive, like I feel good today. Bam, that's, you know what I mean?
It's going to be used against
They're
you.
going to slap you with that, man. So you don't say it. You know, you and I talked about this, and I think I've talked about this with other people. Don't throw pearls to swine. Right? What does a pig do with a pearl? Right? It doesn't know the value of a pearl. Right? It just kick it around and toss it in the mud and eat it and shit it out. And this is what these people will do. Okay? They're not worthy of knowing any nuance about your condition. So for me, the script remains the same. You know, can you work? No. Why? Because I'm fucked. Why are you fucked? Because of this, that, and the other thing. Anything else, I don't say. I don't say anything to them. Don't give them anything. They're not worth it.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, and I know we don't deal with most humanity that way, but most humanity does not seek our destruction. They do. Even in the most innocuous way. Well, I didn't mean to hurt you. You just told me the truth. Well, then I can't fucking tell you the truth, can I? Right. It's not you're going to tell me how I act. You're going to tell me how I'm going to react to you. If I can't trust you, I won't. But you told me that. I didn't tell you that. That's our government. That's anybody working here. For 19 years, I've always been paid the day before payment. Oh, wow, the day before. Weird. Weird. That's weird. I mean, good for you, but I don't know, maybe they caught it. I don't know. You know, maybe they caught their error or something. I don't know. Azalea, I can still hear you fine, Gavin, but your volume is lower than Chantal's. Thank you. Okay, good. That's important to know. Yeah, like, it seems like I'm going through the roof, though. Okay, I'm going to go right there. Right. Because if I'm weaker than you, that's a weird sort of dynamic, you know?
Well, your thing was spiking, so you ended up turning it down.
Yeah, my meter was going through the roof. I mean, I was just redlining, like, just boom, right to the top. But I put it up. Let me know, Megan, if that's good now. I have not been contacted by ADAP yet. Has anyone else? I haven't. I know some people have, or at least I've heard the stories of other people. I haven't. I don't think Chantal has.
Nope, they're taking that in small batches.
Yeah, 400 at a time or something, somebody said, yeah.
So the first 800 people are already in the door, and they're slowly reaching out as people progress through the program. So that's what we're waiting for right now. So everybody that wants to reapply for AISH, now is the time to get that started. Get the ball rolling. Get in to see your doctor. Get those supporting documents in hand. You can request your original AISH file. We've got all that documentation already ready to go to be sent out so that you can put your best foot forward with reassessment, which is actually reapplication. So that's the only way out of having to play ball with ADAP.
Okay. Yeah, so I haven't got mine, knock on, you know, like the vaccine, I didn't need to be at the head of that race. I don't need to be at the head of this one either. I'm fine. Let's see what happens.
And we don't know how they're pulling people. And we don't know if it's like a random lottery. We don't know if it's they're going by file numbers. We don't know if they're going by last name, birth date, year of birth, day of birth. You know, where your name sits in the alphabet. We have no idea. It at this point, we don't know.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm fine. Like I said, I don't need to be at the head of that race. I can watch. I can sit, watch, observe. I'm good. Yeah. Ivy, I wonder what's going to happen. I got mail today from AHS. My date for my MRI is May 14th, 28. Well, great. Although that's May 14th of 28. That's kind of the problem with, that's the biggest problem with free healthcare, isn't it? At least that's what they say, right? You're waiting.
She should be able to phone in though and be put on a cancellation list.
Okay, cool. I ripped my ACL muscle right off my knee. Holy shit. I can't fucking walk or stand, yeah? I don't know what to say. We still love you. I know that. Sucks.
Yep.
Sucks like a bitch. I get it. It's better, yes. Megan, okay, great. I just, I'm having to compete, you know? You know what I mean? With the diaphragm of the lady.
The loudmouth in St. Albert.
I said diaphragm. You're right, loudmouth. And that says, what the fuck do they mean by progressing through the program? No one that was on AISH is going to progress. God. Yeah, well, we know that, Annette. Mm-hmm. We know that. We know the whole thing is a ruse. We know it's eugenics. We know their point is not their point. Anything that they tell the middle class or whatever is not the truth. They're not telling you the truth of a matter. They're trying to disrupt and destroy the lives of the disabled class. And they're just going to lie their way through it. So, you have to start there. You can't start at, why are they, that doesn't make any sense. Well, it's not supposed to make sense, and it's a lie. So you have to start at the lie, not at trying to make sense of a lie. It's all a lie, and once you know that, once you can settle there, that can become your baseline. Then you'll work above knowing it's a lie, and you know what I mean. You won't have to go underneath to get to the lie. Oh, what are they? What do they mean? No, they're lying. It's all a lie. Ivy, so I should send that letter into ADAP, Chantal?
Depends on which letter she's talking about.
Okay, let us know.
Because there's a lot of.
Okay.
are.
I'm going to hand it over to the illustrious Chantal at the moment, and I'll just let you run. I might interrupt you because that's who I am.
Yeah,
but,
no worries.
Right, but I'll let you go. I'm going to grab a Pepsi, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because I can. I'll be back in a minute.
All right, so segment 5, the 3 federal instruments in 1 province. All right, so there are a lot of acronyms that run around on all of these programs and through this province, so we're going to segregate 3 of them so that we know what they are. So the DTC, the Disability Tax Credit, is a federal tax credit certified by the CRA, so the Canada Revenue Agency, on a form that is called the T2201. A clinician usually charges a fee to fill it out, or at least the second part of it. It is not income, and nothing is deducted or for holding it on either program. So you can have the disability tax credit, and there is nothing that anybody can do about it. So it's of little direct value to most recipients because AISH income is not taxable. So there is no tax payable for a credit to offset. The real function is as a mandatory gateway to the CDB, which is the Canada Disability Benefit. And that's our next one. So the CDB, a monthly federal payment requiring the DTC approval first. They didn't tell that to us at the very beginning before we started applying for the CDB, but I'm going to tell everybody about it again now. So you have to have the disability tax credit in order to apply for the Canadian Disability Benefit. Alberta claws the Canadian Disability Benefit back dollar for dollar and is the only province or territory in the country doing so currently. So Alberta notified everybody by letter July 2nd, 2025, that the CDB is non-exempt income. The $200 deduction began April 2026 and was applied even where the CDB a person receives is under $200 or has not yet arrived. So roughly $190 million a year retained provincially off of our federal benefits. That should piss a lot of people off. All right. Now, the CCB, the Canada Child Benefit, because they all sound the same. It is exempt from the AISH and ADAP calculation, and this is where never lists a clawback belongs. So separately, in a different system, the CCB starts counting for the rent assistance benefit, and that'll be as of January 1st, 2027. So, and that'll also go against community housing. What? You're a pain in my butt, this kid. I have the pizza hiding over here, because otherwise he'll eat the whole thing. All right. So the Canada Child Benefit will be counted for rent assistance benefits and community housing as of January 2027, and community housing rent calculations as of January 2028. Sorry. So two separate time frames that those will kick in regarding the Canada Child Benefit. All right. And we've sourced it. So it's already in writing. It's already been publicly posted by the government. So we have all of that. If there's anybody that needs, okay, we're good. We don't need clarification yet. go back to my email. All right. So the obligation nobody can define, segment 6. So where is it here? Oh, this was a member's question that I wanted to highlight during the podcast. So we had a member ask, how do we take part in ADAP? Do we register online or will they write to us? How many workshops over the next 18 months? How many jobs do we have to apply for? So every one of those has no answer in the regulation, and here's everything it says. So according to the regulation S14, employment support in full, the minister may determine the types of employment supports that may be provided and the frequency with which an employment support may be provided. So that is the entire section, types and frequency, both ministerial. So fun stuff. S15-4, the teeth of it. So a director may refuse, suspend, vary, or discontinue an ADAP benefit if, in the director's opinion, the person has refused to seek or accept or has reduced or terminated their reasonable employment or has refused or neglected to participate in or make use of an employment support. So there's no way to get out of participation in any aspect. It's literally in the regulations. So S16, the duty. Notify the director when you or your cohabitating partner start or stop employment. And that's more so that they know how much money to take from you. So,
Well, and just, do you mind? I just want to jump in to say, yeah, there is no way around partaking or, to whatever that looks like for you, whatever your ability is there. But it doesn't say anything about how you can't react to all of this. You have to be compliant, but you don't have to be quiet. And you can say what you need to say, and I will allow you the respect, ladies and gentlemen, of knowing how far to take that, so that you don't hurt yourself, right? You don't want to do that, but you don't have to remain quiet. If you got to be compliant, once again, you can scream and yell all the way to whatever the end game is. Yeah. And that's what it will do. That's what I plan on doing, and I plan on doing nothing less than that. They are the Nazi Guard of 1939, and I will let them know it, and I will make sure they don't forget it. So I just wanted to say that. Because once again, you think you don't have a voice, right? If I have to comply, then I guess I'm just chained and shackled and I'm a slave. Well, you can yell and scream, and you can kick, and you can fight to whatever extent that is, that doesn't disrupt the entirety of your livelihood or your life. Yeah.
All right, so a highlight of all of that. So neither reasonable employment nor employment support is defined anywhere in the regulation. The definitions section defines severe disability, cohabitating partner, dependent child, facility, and the 2 disability categories. It does not define either term that carries the obligation. So that is very important for everybody to know, that it does not define either term that carries the obligation. So a benefit can be reduced or stopped for failing to do something, and the something is not published. That's the trap, and we are aware of it.
So even in legal terms, like if a policeman arrests you, well, you can be arrested even though you know the law doesn't exist. For you, meaning that you didn't know what the law was, that can still get you in trouble. But if there is no written law for that thing, you can't be in trouble.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And so it seems to me like what you're saying, Chantal, is there is no written law at the moment. And so
they have it very ambiguous.
Okay. So what is it? Is it a certain it that we're talking about?
Well, because they don't have reasonable employment or employment support defined anywhere, right? It ends up being a lot of he said, she said, and they've given this director way too much power over our lives and our livelihoods. So, like, there's too much gray area, if that makes sense. There's too much gray zone
I got it.
and not enough black and white. So
Right.
it's almost like if they have a problem with anything within those two things that aren't published or defined,
Right.
we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants.
Right. So you could almost say, without any knowledge that we have, that the director is the one that is going to define reasonable for all of us.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you don't get to do that for me. I'm sorry. That's why we fight. That's why we fight. I'm not saying I'm going to, what's the word? I'm going to collapse my own life because I won't take that as a fact and work with that. But I will, and if I stood in front of the director, I'd say, like, you don't get the opportunity to decide what reasonable means. I do. And there is nothing to say that you know anything. I don't know you. I don't know, I don't know how philosophical you are. I don't know what you understand about the world. I don't know what you understand about biology or psychology or sociology. And you're going to make decisions for me? I don't fucking think so. Because as far as I'm concerned, if the premise is that you know what reasonable is, then you're not a smart person. Because nobody.
Not just that. If you guys couldn't define reasonable employment and employment supports, then you don't get to figure out what that definition is based on a one-on-one. Because that means that it can change person to person. Right? That means that they don't have there's no accountability to them because they're going to change the rules for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's not how this should be.
Well, that's the point. Okay, just stop saying things better than me, okay? Stop that. Sorry.
I've been writing all weekend. Oh my God.
No, once again, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, we both got the point, right? And, it's like when we met, right, around the Heritage Fund, right? Like, you had your point and I had mine, and they were so intriguing and so on the opposite ends of the spectrum that we had to know what the hell we were thinking. And that's how we met. So, your point is salient. Go ahead. Yeah, great.
But we do have a lot of strength in our standing right now because we know what's in the regulation and what's not. And we are light years, I'm going to say light years because that's what it feels like, ahead of the NDP breaking this down, the Tory party breaking this down, and anybody else breaking this down. We are ahead of the game, and we know where the wording is and what it says and what it doesn't say.
Do you know why?
That is what makes us powerful.
Do you know why we're light years ahead?
I have no idea.
Because we're not beholden.
We're doing the work.
Well, no, because we're not beholden to anything except each other, and to our own integrity. We could even assume, perhaps, it could be true, right? It's plausible that the NDP knows everything we know, but they're not sharing it because they're beholden, because they will withhold this to get elected. Even if they do know it. Do they know it? I don't know. But once again, they're beholden to themselves and to higher interests, to globalization and the WEF and think tanks and all of this shit, and to high money, to big corporate money. And, like, why is Wab Canoe saying yes to institutionalization, right? You would know better if you were if you're a well-meaning human being. You would know better than that. So we're not beholden. That's why.
All right. So the policy manual states outright that AISH clients are not required to seek work. Well, that's good because they dropped our ceiling on AISH to $350. So there really wouldn't be a point in finding work at that level. But nothing like forcing people onto ADAP because of lower earning potential, right? Oops, that was the inside thing out loud. Oops. The seek and accept duties are ADAP only. So same regulation, 2 categories, and the duty attaches to the one with the lower rate. So when you are contacted by ADAP, it starts with a letter saying basically you are going to be contacted by phone to go over what it is the next steps are within the ADAP program. That's how all of that starts. If you haven't gotten the letter yet, it's because you have time. That's all that means, is you have time to figure out what you want to do, what your next steps are, request your AISH file, get it out there, find a new doctor if you don't have one. You have time. So take advantage of that time. Don't stress over a letter that hasn't hit your inbox yet. It won't be the end of the world, and they're not going to be handing out jobs. So that's a big thing for everybody right now. So what the regulation says about your privacy, okay? And this whole thing was triggered by a member's question, and the answer really surprised me. All right, so the person asked, a lawyer, a doctor, and a psychologist all have rules about what they can share. Do ADAP workers, or can they go home and talk about my file? So what AR 96/2026, so that's the Alberta regulations, says about confidentiality? Nothing. Oh, I love that face. Again, what the new Alberta regulations surrounding this program says about confidentiality is nothing. So I searched for confidentiality, disclosure, privacy, and personal information, and there was nothing in there. Nothing. The word information appears only in provisions requiring you to provide it and letting a director gather and verify it from third parties. In that regulation, information flows one way.
From you to them. Right. I would wonder though, I don't know, and it's very intriguing that there is no privacy, ethics or whatever in the legislation or whatever itself. I would wonder then though if there isn't that protecting us in regular law, right?
Well, there are, but for this program in general, they don't have anything definitive.
Right. Well, that comes down to access to information, right? And the freedom of such and our protection under the law, right? I mean, personally, I don't care who talks about me as long as you get my name right, and I don't care what you say either. Like there is no bad publicity as long as you get my name right. Yeah. Like I'll take the bad press, and we'll discuss that. So, but for reasons of our own autonomy and protection, that's why the law has our protection at stake, right? That's why they do protect us. So the fact that there is nothing written in this legislation about our personal protection is quite instructive as to maybe how much they don't care or where we're headed as a society, right? The fact that all of our information, these new cards with our, access to our medical records and all of that, right? Yeah. Very intriguing.
Yeah, it is. So the power to write the rule exists and has not been used. So the Act as S12-1, I think it's an I or a J. I think it's a J. Let's cabinet make regulations respecting the collection, use, or disclosure of information. Bill 12 added the same power for the minister at S12.1C. Neither has been exercised in the general regulations. So they chose not to add it. So, but what does apply? So the Protection of Privacy Act in force as of June 11, 2025, replacing the privacy part of FOIP, which has been repealed. It applies to public bodies, including government ministries. Personal information must generally be collected directly from you, and you must be told the purpose. So penalties reach 200,000 for an individual and 1 million for an organization, against $10,000 under the old act. So at least we know that we do have privacy sitting somewhere. Because of course I have to pluck that chicken, right? Always. So the contractor point, which is the real question, government guidance states contractors providing a service to a public body must comply and understand their responsibilities. The commissioner's guidance adds that any collection, use, or disclosure a service provider carries out on a public body's behalf must be authorized, and the contract must set out what is permitted and prohibited, and a public body cannot contract out of its obligations. So that should kind of put that worry to bed, that they're going to be held to the same confidentiality policies as every other governing body. And it's, keep it in the office. All right. So contractor staff are covered, but the detail sits in a contract between Alberta and the contractor that is not public. So nobody outside can read what AKG is permitted to collect and what goes back to the program or how long any of it is kept. That's what we're worried about. So the difference the member was reaching for is real. A psychologist's duty is personal and enforced by a college that can take their license. A program worker or contractor is bound by statute and employment terms, and a contract you cannot see. So both are duties. Only one is enforced by a body that can end the person's career. All right.
And they know that. They're not going to screw with that,
Exactly.
My doctor or my psychiatrist or whatever, are both very careful about confidentiality. As a matter of fact, it comes up more times than I even care to, like I don't care, and all of a sudden they're talking about confidentiality, and I'm going, I think that's more for you than it is for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to say that for yourself right now, not for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty funny.
That's because my information is protected from you.
Yeah, right, exactly. Do you mind if I go to the chat just for a second?
Yeah,
We're
go ahead.
getting, I will say one thing that I've noticed about this chat, which I actually kind of like, is the fact that people are talking in the chat now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys don't mind, guys and gals, that is, if you don't mind, I'm probably not going to read what you're talking about within the chat itself. Excuse me, but if you ask us a specific question, we'll answer it. But I'm really glad to see people chatting, and asking really great questions. They're making it as difficult as possible. Yep, okay, I got that. Is there a way to avoid the mandatory work program? No, I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, I might have gone up way too far. I wonder what's going on. What's going to happen? I got mail today. AISH date. Okay, I read that. What the fuck do they mean by? I read that. So I should send that letter into AISH. The letter stating I've got to wait almost 3 years for an MRI. Okay. And then you guys talked about it, certainty, and Ivy said, thanks, certainty. Or certainly. Ivy, I'll go above, and when I meet with my doctor to finish the reapplication, I'll bring that to him to add to my application and get the doctor's note as well, I guess. Yeah?
Well, because if, like Ivy said, she can barely stand and she can't walk, right? So.
Right.
I think the form that you would want is the barrier form.
Right. And then you guys kind of went back and forth, you and Ivy, and that's great. I was told a lady in the group was waiting for 4 years to see an orthopedic surgeon in Red Deer. I'm in Coronation, 2 hours away. Yeah, it's just, it's a system, man. Megan says, nothing eases the mind like a gaping chasm of uncertainty. Well, in the name of one of the people in the chat, certainly not. Yeah, right. I mean, and they know that just as well as you know it as a human being, right? Ambiguity is a problem, and they know it's a problem, and so to what extent do they use problems in their modalities, right? That's the question. Ambiguity is a human thing, right? And it means certain things to the species. So we don't want ambiguity, and the human species doesn't want it. By and large, we want to know. We don't want to not know. So what that means is it can be used as a weapon against you. So you have to ask yourself the question, is it being utilized as a weapon in this case? And I'm going to say yes. I'm just going to say it. Am I wrong? I could be, but why not say it? Do I trust any of these things? No, I don't trust institutions now of any kind. I don't trust government. Everything is up for debate now. Okay, so certainly goes on with Ivy. I've seen in the Facebook a group of women talking about her daughter, and the contractor had stated if her file was flagged before the contractor contacted, she would not have to do the work program. Maybe, but we don't know that. Like, I think Zachary Weeks put out something alluding to that.
Yeah, that's exactly where that misinformation is coming from.
Right. Now, is it true? We can't verify it. Like, and we hear the stories, but stories aren't verification. Stories aren't facts. Facts are facts. So if we know it for sure, we'll state it. But I've heard it too, but I'm not willing to go on record. Doesn't mean you can't chat about it. You go ahead and chat.
Well, there's no way for us to opt out of participating in these work programs. It wasn't a magic number that he ended up getting access to from somebody in a group. That was the north line for the main, what the hell is it, call center for AISH up here in northern Alberta. That's all that number was.
Right. Right. So, yeah. So it wasn't a place to call to get flagged. It was just a number, another generic number to call. And it was being put forward as a potential to call and get flagged and go back on AISH. That's not true. So...
And we know that it's not true because it was written into the legislation that the transition that we all underwent from AISH to ADAP without any kind of conversation or reassessment or assessment or anything at all before it happened, right? Yeah. Once we are on ADAP, which we are as of the 2nd of July, right? We have to follow now that program's rules, and participation is part of it.
And that's what we know. We know nothing really beyond it. I've heard the story. Yep. Heard them. Kind of like them. But they're only stories until we can verify it. And does that mean that, maybe somebody's not getting a hold of somebody and they're going, you know what? Like, I can't do this, but I can. I mean, once again, we're left to assumption. We're not left with fact. And so we're not going to. But you can talk about it. I mean, you can talk about anything you want, really. Unless you're Alberta, whatever, Alberta proud or whatever, then you better, fucking talk about something important. I saw that certainty. Yeah, okay, good. Do we know if that will work? Well, we don't know that it's true. So we don't.
It's not true.
Right. It's as far as we know. It's
that right now. It's not true.
It's not true.
And I reached out to Weeks. I posted on my group saying that it's not legitimate. Even if you watch the video again, like Weeks' video where he mentions the number, he says in his own words right there in the video, I have not confirmed this information.
Right. So why say it is the question. Why not confirm it and then say it? Yeah. And You know, I'll also say that there have been other things out there, you know, that people maybe done disingenuously or maybe didn't think about what they were saying to begin with. And Chantal in particular has had discourse with some of those people. And you know, the truth is they knew they were incorrect. They knew maybe they could have done better and they should have done better. And those were conversations between Chantal and other people. So,
And it's to protect this community.
it really is,
Because
right?
misinformation damages this community.
Yeah.
Because if we have one person that says something that sounds true and other people believe it, it becomes an issue.
Yep. 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 So, you know, we'll, once again, you know, like, you talk about it all you want, discuss it, great, you know, go ahead. But try and figure it out, too. Try and figure it out if it's really true. And we won't state it unless it is. That's all, I guess, all we're saying. Okay, so you guys kind of, did you call ADAP to see if you have to do the work? Okay, so I think they're just asking. It was flagged for, sorry, it was flagged for me. There's a Freudian slip. It was flagged for me reapplying. She said if I'm called, tell them my file is flagged, and that should be the end of it. The end of what? Well, okay,
So
but
what is happening is there's a lot of misinformation coming out of ACE
okay,
and the ADAP call center
yep,
because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we underwent the transition.
Mhm.
Everybody is now effectively who was transferred to ADAP are ADAP recipients now.
okay,
Now they're not taking all 10, the tens of thousands of us on board today,
mm-hmm.
right? They're taking us in batches.
Mm.
So we don't reach out to ADAP to say, hey, I want to hurry up and get this underway, let's do this.
Mhm.
We wait our turn,
Right.
just like everything else. In a call queue, in an email, everything, we wait. So we are officially ADAP recipients as of the 2nd of July. We can't opt out of work programs. That's a really good way to lose your benefits
Yep.
because it's in the legislation that if you refuse
Yep.
or fight them on it, right, you're going to lose your benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what everybody else is really interested in doing here with this because it's in the legislation.
All right.
We've broken it down endlessly
Right.
for people that this is what is expected of us in order to get our check at the end of the month.
Right. Right. And so, you know, that's not a capitulation or what. Like, we're not, you know, resigning ourselves to the government. We're fighting. But just for the sake of the show itself, we don't want to say what we cannot confirm. And it looks to me like Ivy's telling her own personal story. So that's great. I would like to know more. And it could be that it's fluid. You call and somebody says something, and whether they have any information of whether that's true or not, we don't.
No.
All right. So
I'd get it in writing.
get it in. Yeah.
I
Amen.
wouldn't count on anything unless it's in writing
Oh, hell yeah.
with somebody's name on it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they can easily go, oh, well, that was never said.
Exactly. Pin them to the wall. If they're going to make the statement, pin them to the wall. Because if they back out of it, then they're not sure. And they don't want to get in shit or lose their job. So what they may be saying is something they heard that could be true.
Yeah.
But if you
Well,
know, and
these are
that's
the same people telling us to go and make a FOIP request. These are the
Right.
same people saying, oh, well, you know, you should phone your worker.
right. Hmm.
Or
Yeah.
I don't know. Or
Right.
let me grab a supervisor. Or I'd have to look into that, and then they never phone you back.
Right.
Everything that these people say, take it with a grain of salt and put it against what the legislation and the regulations are.
And the best thing to do is ask them, like Chantal just said, ask them in writing. Because if they back out of that, you can know that it's not verified. You'll immediately know, because they'll say, well, I don't know if I can put it in writing, because then they'll tell you, I'm not sure, you see?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to rest on an uncertainty. I'm going to fight them tooth and nail. And even let's say that's true and they flag me and I'm back on AISH, I would still fight them anyway, because they're horrific, horrible, and the complete system is just, you know what I mean? It's worth fighting anyway. But we don't know and we're not going to say. I requested my file, says Annette. I requested my file the beginning of June and still haven't seen any. Yeah,
Yep.
You haven't
I'm
seen
in
it.
the same boat.
You haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. And once again, that's something we could probably call for and give people shit for. I mean, you know, you can't hide behind the fact that you're a frontline worker that doesn't have information. You should have information. This is your fault just as much as anybody else's. And you can't just rely on, well, we haven't been given that information yet. Well, then let me talk to your fucking supervisor. Let me talk to whoever I need to set them fucking straight. This is affecting my life today, and you're not going to do it to me anymore. How's that? How's that? Do your fucking job.
Exactly. That's the accountability component that we all need to start really pushing back against these people with.
We really do, and we have all right to. We're not going to lose our benefits because we gave somebody shit for something they didn't do. We're going to get in trouble because we didn't do what somebody said we should. You said, I mean, there's no, I don't even think there's any fear of that. And if we all did that, if we all just pushed back and told people that they're not doing their fucking job, we might actually start being heard. Because the frontline worker isn't going to keep that quiet. Everybody I hear from hates me. Well, you're fucking right, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't like you. And they want information that we don't have. I don't know if I can handle this job. I mean, it's going to get up to the top. You know, hot air rises, and their hot air is going to rise to the top. So we need to take a stand for ourselves. And why shouldn't we? We're just as human as they are. We mean just as much to the world as any other human being. You are amazing. Every one of you. And I'll stop preaching now. Ivy, but then again, nobody knows what the fuck's truly going on in H, so I'm holding my breath. Well, I would breathe. Go ahead and breathe.
Yep.
Yep, go ahead and breathe. I wouldn't hold your breath. But if you want to keep it in the back of your mind, great. Or if you want to hold your breath, go ahead. It's not my choice.
You'll pass out from oxygen deprivation and you'll start breathing once you're out anyway. It's all good.
Probably before you get an answer, yeah. Me too, Annette, not a word. Okay, so they're going. Oh, wow, I'm jumping now. Boy, am I jumping. Wow, where am I? No, I'm okay, so, and, okay, and then that, and then I have no idea. Okay, so, yes. I love the fact that you guys are talking. Man, that is so beautiful. I will say, certainly not just said gross. That's good, because I think whatever is gross, you're probably right about whatever that is you meant. Hey, Laura Lee, he's in here. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Really good to see you. I spoke to a specific lady named Tara at AISH, and that is what she told me. Okay, great, get it in writing. Call her back if you can get her specifically or anybody else and just say, hey, you know, Tara told me this is true. And so number one, you know, Tara's going to get in shit if it's not true. And number
no,
one.
she won't. She wouldn't get in trouble for that because she's telling somebody that they can basically refuse to participate in these employment programs.
Well, okay, I think Tara might get in shit, but
Not
the
if
other
it's part of their thing, right?
right. But my greater point is, whoever you talk to next, ask them and get them to put it in writing, and then you'll have something. And you know, I mean that sincerely, Ivy. Just as a point of taking care of yourself, number one, and bringing information here. If we can see, if you send me the letter or whatever, and you know, we can show people that no, it, you know, this is leaking through. So go ahead, take advantage of it, whatever that means. Then we'll listen. But you know, once again, it's ambiguous, right? I said that she said that I know that she knows. But you know, when you got that in your hand, that means everything. And to not get it in your hand, for somebody to say, you know, oh no, I think this is true. Well, can you send me something with your name on it saying it is true? Oh, I can't. No, I can't do that. Then you know,
Yeah, because
right?
you're setting me up to fail.
Yeah, you're setting me up. Chantal, Ivy says, Chantal, this information was not from Zachary Weeks. This is from an actual AISH worker. No, we get it. We get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out there. It's floating. It's in the ether. We know it is, but we just can't confirm it. That's what we're saying. You know, it's not like, I don't think you're lying, Ivy. I think you're totally 100% correct that what you heard. And as soon as we get that in writing, we'll be right there to believe it with you. You know?
Because right now the two sources are contradicting each other, which isn't new for
Yeah.
this program
Yep.
or for AISH or anything else. The legislation says that people that are on ADAP are expected to participate in employment services.
Yep.
Expected participation in
Yep.
order to receive our benefits.
Yep.
So I'm going by the legislation and the regulations that are in place.
Yep.
AISH is telling you, oh no, you can flag your file and it'll save you from having to participate. Somebody's wrong. Now, is it the legislation that is in place under the law now that's wrong, or is it somebody that isn't trained properly at AISH?
All right, and that's an answer we don't have. We don't know who's right and we don't know who's wrong. We're going to err on the side of caution and hope you're right, Ivy. We hope you're right, but we got to know you're right. Like, we got to know that just not for you you're right. We got to know that it's right for everybody, in which this podcast may touch, right? And that's us being responsible, right? Like, that's it. But nothing, great. Laura Lee, AISH told me, my son, that they would flag his file and that that he would be reassessed or not reassessed.
Okay, so it's reassessment jargon again. So the reassessment is reapplication.
All right.
That's what the reassessment is you are applying again to get onto AISH. They're not going to be phoning to say, hey, would you like a reassessment? That's not what ADAP's going to be doing. That's not what AISH is going to be doing. It's a reapplication that they're guising or making it seem like they're going to reach out and do a reassessment.
Right.
They're not.
And you see, this is where feelings can get hurt, right? You know, even in this ambiguity is where we may turn against each other. Well, I heard this, and hey, we're not going to argue that. We don't have all the information either because this thing is so ambiguous. We're coming at it from a certain angle because I feel a responsibility to more than myself and to more than one person or even two people. That doesn't mean you're wrong. You could be 100% right, but we have to be careful, right? And hopefully you know that, and hopefully you understand why that matters to us. And if you're right, then again, get it in writing. We'll be right along with you. Okay? We would probably want to confirm it a little bit further. But once again, right? Like, we don't know. Do I have an analogy for this? I'll tell you what. I was doing some film work for an Indigenous lady, and not very sincere. There wasn't a lot of sincerity there. And so anyway, I can't go through the whole story. It's way too long. But anyway, they told me that legally in Canada, if an Indigenous person tells you something, then it is legally true. Now, I know that sounds weird, but that's what they said. It's what this individual and other people said to me, that if an Indigenous person tells you anything, it becomes the law. Pretty ridiculous, right? Like, but I was like, oh, well, that's really interesting. I was like, so let me do this. Let me call my lawyer or call a lawyer, and let me just ensure that that's, that really is true, that that's the law in Canada, that once an Indigenous person tells me something, it becomes law, and I'll be right with you. And they were like, well, what, you don't trust the Indigenous? I'm like, no, that's not my point. I trust you enough to believe that could be true, but I need to cover myself. You see what I mean? So just because we hear it from people doesn't make it law, doesn't make it true, and we need to figure it out. Ivy, them telling me that I have to go to work. Yeah. Once again, yeah. Don't know, Laura Lee, I'm not sure what my son will do to take training. Living in a rural area with no computer or transportation, he won't be able to do it. That's the point. There's no easy way for him to do that unless the government wants to put, so many contingency in place that he could ever partake. But I don't think they're going to go that far. The whole thing is just a fucking shit show. Exactly like I said, not holding my breath. Yeah. No transportation. Certainly not. This is so sad or messed up. Yeah, we're right with you though, right? Like we're in the mess. We're all in this miasma. Everybody is in this toxic, oil can right now. With the danger hazard sign on it. That's where we're all in that vat. And we have to insist that our humanity should be respected, and we should put the people in that vat of boiling acid. Maybe that I can't go that far. I can't say that. I love everybody, and no, she didn't tell me to refuse. She told me to tell them reapplying for AISH that my file. Right, the reapplying part, they might flag that. Same as Laura Lee. Yeah, that they might flag your account. But I don't know. AISH flagged it, not me. Yeah, great. If they flagged it, great. Question, can I reapply for AISH even without my original AISH file, says Annette?
Yes.
Okay. I know you're kind of fed up with the questions. You seem a little frustrated. I get it because it's frustrating, but once again,
no, it's more like you can only answer the same question so many different times.
Yeah, and the bottom line
is
right. Like I think we've answered it though. We don't know. We don't know 100%. Right?
Well, the whole point of them putting us to ADAP is for us to have to reapply for AISH. And in order for us to reapply for AISH, we have to use the most current information possible to strengthen our case. Can we use information from our old application? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you have a disability and you're on medication and you're needing physio or you're needing this or you're needing that or whatever, you should be under the care of somebody.
Right.
So, and they want to make sure that everybody's information is as up to date as possible. So you can apply, again, absolutely, make sure that you have updated information, but reapplying under just the merit of your original AISH application, that's not going to work with this because the wording has all changed.
Right. So you can do whatever you want. You can use old, you can use new, you can use a facsimile of both, you can, Ivy, I don't care whatever will be in the end. Yeah, que sera, sera, right? Whatever will be, the future's not ours to see. But, we fight and we, once again, right, it can make us feel stupid because what do we know, right? Like, it's so ambiguous that we don't know and people hear things that we can't confirm. That's all we're saying. Laura Lee says, once you reapply for AISH and get refused, you have to take the training. Yep, it seems to me that's the truth. Okay, I'm Indigenous and tell you that you're going to stay on AISH is a load of bullshit, says Annette. Ivy, I'm in the process of, okay, so you guys are, okay. I saw, certainly not, says I saw certainty not. So I've seen on Facebook group AKG is doing biopsychosocial assessment. I don't know. I haven't heard that. Maybe we should look into that. Do we know if AKG is qualified to be doing these assessments? Well, they don't do... Chantal, do you know AKG's role specifically?
I do, but I'd have to pull up my notes on AKG
Okay.
because they're doing the same thing as Thurco, right? And they're just playing middleman right now. But my daughter just walked in.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay.
Anne Marie says it's a total shit show. Yeah. And Ivy says we are all frustrated. I know, right? You know, you can hear it. I can sense it in the chat. You could probably hear it in my voice, right? Like, you know, there are going to be days like this. Mama told me there'd be days like this, right? There's going to be days like this, man, where, you know, we don't have every answer that everybody wants, needs, because not of any fault of our own, but because this whole thing is such an ambiguous mess. I think of a specific construction that if we're not careful could frustrate us to no end. So what do? I just say, you know, I don't know the answer to that question, and I move forward. It's not going to stop me. And I refuse, you know, to get so frustrated that I get frustrated at this class of individual. This is not where my disaffection lies. My disaffection is perfectly and exactly where it should be, which is in the people doing this and with the people promoting it. So that's the government, that's AKG, that's CERCO, that's anybody that answers a phone at AISH or ADAP. That's where my disaffection lies. That's the people that will get my vitriol, and not you people, because I love you. And I know how important our relationships are to each other. That if we're going to get anywhere, you know, just like MAGA and the liberal, right? They got us fighting amongst ourselves, and we've got them right where they want us, you see? So I refuse. I refuse. I will love the Laura Lees and the Annettes and the Ivies and the Certainty Knots and the Megans and the everyone, because I know what they're trying to destroy, and that is our humanity, right? Our humanness to love one another and to care for one another. So I hope that doesn't sound too cheesy, but I'm a Leo. I'm sensitive. But I love you people, and I've told you that. And, you know, this is where it comes out, you know, in moments like this where I realize what's going on here. Yeah, it's not about what somebody's heard. It's not about what we know or what we don't. It's really about, you know, what can leak in, right? The frustrations that can... I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to love you. How's that? Anne-Marie says, well, Gavin, Chantal have given me more info that this dumb government has given me. Yep, I mean, you know, because we care and they don't. It's pretty simple. We really do. We love the hell out of everybody here, and that includes you, Annette, and everybody else. Laura Lee says, if you get contacted to take training and haven't been assessed yet, can you delay training? I don't know. I wouldn't, Laura Lee. That's grounds for being booted. Yeah. I mean, once again, you want to err on the side of caution. Once again, this thing becomes ambiguous, and it starts to, and it becomes a frustration. So let me go back to you, Laura Lee. If you get contacted to take training and haven't been reassessed yet, can you delay training? I don't know. But I would say that could be true or that couldn't be true. I don't know, but let's even say that that is true. How long are they going to let you not be reassessed? I mean, if I don't want to be reassessed and I don't want to do training, I can just, every time they call me, I can say I haven't been reassessed yet, so fuck off, right? Like, I don't know how long they would let something like that last until they went, reassessment doesn't matter anymore, get your ass to a training session. You see what I mean? Like, so that's what I think. Anne-Marie, Annette, we love you, Gavin and Chantal, and we love you, Annette. I wouldn't, Laura Lee, yep. Love is all we need, you know. I mean, sometimes love isn't enough. You know, what's the joke? You know, my dad said laughter is the best medicine, and maybe that's why so many of us died of tuberculosis, right? So sometimes laughter isn't the best medicine. Sometimes medicine is the best medicine. And is love all you need? Ultimately, yes, but you also have to do the work, right? You know, love doesn't pay the bills, but it engages you in the process of paying a bill because you love the person you're with or whatever, right? You know, you don't want to disappoint people. And that's what I mean. We love you all. We'll look into this stuff in so much as we can and as the information becomes available. And that's our love and our commitment to you. That's all I can say. Chantal isn't here, so I'm going to take over segment 6 if we're done segment 5. The campaigns, just let me go to, give me 2 seconds. Chantal might have just said something to me.
No,
No.
it's the, there's one part for segment 7 that we haven't covered yet, and it's a big one.
Oh.
If you want to head to segment 8, you can, or we can palate cleanse. I'm just,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why don't I, what, God damn, you got all the right ideas, Chantal. Why don't I palate cleanse, ladies and gentlemen? Are we not maybe really in need of a palate cleanser right about now? I would say yes, we are. And so I'll go to the song. Yeah. Excuse me. So we all know the song. We all love the song. Excuse me. I think we could use the song. And here it comes.
Coming to the steps where the quiet voices rise, where the parents bring the paperwork and the hungry children cry. Are you coming to the steps where the sick are told to wait, where they cut the hands that held us up, then call the damage fate? We are still here. We are still here. Our backs against the wall without fear. We are still here. We stand as one. We'll fight their lies until our work is done. Are you coming for the children who were promised care and time, where the forms replace the helping hands and support becomes a line? Are you coming for the families who have begged and called and tried, while the doors keep closing quietly and the need stays locked inside? We are still here. We are still here. Our backs against the wall without fear. We are still here. We stand as one. We'll fight their lies until our work is done. Don't go quiet. Don't go alone. Let them reap what they have sown. They could never hide their shame. It is they who bear the blame. Are you coming for the sick ones who can't lose another thread, where the medicine, the rights, the care stand between the living and the dead? Are you coming for the renters with the notice on the door, where the check was never enough to live and now they're taking more? We are still here. We are still here. Our backs against the wall without fear. We are still here. We
do do do. Right? Come on, that's beautiful. What a beautiful song. If you hear the guitar in the choruses, you know, da 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 da, that's me. But you know, I was talking to somebody about perfectionism, and I don't know, you know, most of y'all probably wouldn't catch it, but I forgot to take the MIDI out of the lower guitar part in the choruses, first and second chorus, and so there's your perfection right there. Like it actually kind of messes with the whole chord structure because I forgot to take the MIDI out. So you don't have to be perfect, you know. Sometimes your mistakes are what creates genius. You know, I know when I've played music in my former life, shall we say, sometimes when I made a mistake, I was you know, I'd say, my God, I got to actually investigate that mistake because there was something good about it, right? It wasn't all bad. So there's your perfectionism right there, ladies and gentlemen. What else? I'm just going to go back to the chat real quick. Laura Lee says, we don't have Microsoft Word to make a resume. We only have an iPad. We live in a rural town. This will be interesting. Anything there, Chantal? Anything you can say?
It will be interesting because a lot of these companies will be teaching us how to use AI to build our resumes.
Oh, right. You can't get AI on an iPad?
It depends on what program they're using.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I haven't gotten my, you know, ADAP is going to be contacting you letter yet.
Shit. Hang on. I think I muted you. No, you're good. Okay, sorry. Keep going. Yep.
Yeah, no, so I haven't gotten my letter yet to have any kind of introduction, to know anything about what's going on firsthand. All I have right now to go off of is secondhand information from various community members. So
Okay.
that's all that I'm going off of in terms of what ADAP rollout looks like, or what the rollout looks like,
Right.
and what the program structure looks like, because none of that has been posted publicly as a source anywhere.
Mm-hmm. You know, this whole thing, man, as far as I can tell, is a slow burn toward all of these data centers, and, you know, you can basically start to say goodbye to your, you know, human rights and civic rights and civil rights. And it's funny that the UCP, the conservative would be the one that is mostly anathema to the data center. Now, I hope most liberals are too, for their own reasons, right? The liberal maybe because of climate change, if they want to go there. The conservative because of human rights, you know, because this is ungodly, let's say, right? Right? But it's funny that the UCP, the conservative government, is pushing this like no other fucking liberal ever did.
Yep.
Like now it's happening, and it's happening under a conservative government, right? And your conservative would have been the one to say, "Oh my God, you know, data centers, you know, like get out garlic and a cross, you know." And I agree. I think they're horrible, horrible things for lots of reasons. And now it seems like that class of individuals is starting to accept it. It's quite something, and this is how they want us to accept it. Well, everything now is AI, so we need big data centers, because how are we going to do ADAP if we don't have a data center? You see what I mean? Like
but
fucking.
we're seeing the same thing on the school level for children right now. Ones that have a hard time reading or whatever, they're turning to technology to fill that void.
Right.
They're not going back and going, oh, okay, well, where are you? What are you missing? Let's build that foundation. Let's work on it as educators. They're not doing that. It's here. Use the Chromebook and use it to read for you. Use it to scribe for you.
Right.
We're seeing it on multiple levels of everything.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you got to think if you're a person that could utilize that, it would be good, and nobody's going to say that's not good for you. Nobody's going to say that's a benefit, right? But you also have to look at the slippery slope argument of all of this. You know, it's kind of like the immigrant that comes to Canada. And I had this conversation with a guy from the Congo. He couldn't have been more black. I mean, this dude was a black dude. You know, cool guy, great guy. But we had the conversation about, look, I understand that the Congo is a hot mess. war, death, pestilence, destruction. I get it. I get exactly why you would want to come to Canada. It's not about you. It's about the slippery slope that that is contained within the individual. So every person is an individual, but if more individuals do it, it becomes a collective ethos. It's no longer just about you. It will always be about you, but it doesn't necessarily stay just about you. It's a collectivization of destruction. So we have to at least look at that. We at least have to be honest about that. I'm not saying that you as an individual, because you benefit from a certain thing, a certain technology, shouldn't take advantage of it. That would be really ignorant of me, wouldn't it? Yeah, but we at least have to acknowledge the slippery slope argument here as to where this leads us. And then we can maybe have a conversation around your needs as opposed to the general need. All right? And so that's how I feel about all this shit. Just finish up here and then I'll hand it back, Chantal.
Yeah.
We don't have Microsoft. Laura Lee, I play guitar. Oh, wow, well, cool. I don't. You know, this was MIDI. I mean, I played the notes in, but I didn't play them on a guitar because I'm a drummer and I don't know guitar that well. But I do know, you know, harmony and a melody, and I certainly know rhythm. So, you know, I put together, you know, this thing, all of these guitar riffs and licks, and even the string patches are what I did in the song. But if you notice, you in particular then, Laura Lee, you will notice that in the second part of the first and second chorus, I played the higher note version in the first part, and then I went lower, but I also played the higher in the second part and forgot to take the lower out. So you probably recognize that it goes, you know, what is it? Ba-da-da, and then on the second part it goes ba-da, ba-da-da, and that doesn't work, all right? So good for you. I hope you can notice it and go, God damn it, that guy. You know, no engineer. He's no engineer, I'll tell you that. Certainly not. I will not be using AI. I'll do it old school. Yeah, well, hopefully they're okay with that. You know, once again, this is a slippery slope argument, right? Well, yeah. If you don't want to use AI, do you have to? Like, once again, it's craziness, absolute fucking craziness. Certainly, how have we been using AI now? No data centers. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, you know, do we need a data center? Like, we're using AI now. And nobody's suffering. I mean, some of the models, you know, for, like, creation are not that strong. They're still a little weak. You know, the prompting, you know, doesn't follow your direct instruction, things like that, but nobody's complaining about the AI. Like, is it good enough? Do we have enough of it? Yeah, I think so. We're good. China just came out with a new AI that's going to be more or less free, that in a creation model, that could ostensibly do away with ChatGPT, fucking whatever it is, Happy Horse, any of these things, you know. And so we're, you know, if we're not on a race to that, I can sure tell you that the oligarchy is on a race to the top. Right now, now China just came out with this, you know, like kick-ass fucking thing for nothing, and so now the competitiveness, and this isn't our consideration. We just want our lives back. But they're on a race to destruction. They are, not us. Them.
Exactly.
I give it back to you, milady.
So I'm just going to close out segment 7 here.
Okay.
So one member from the group reported that her daughter was approached or was told about a 3-hour contractor assessment. And it included a biopsychosocial assessment. So the Waddell and Alliward biosocial model is the documented theoretical basis of the UK's work capability assessment.
I'm sorry, but I got to jump in. I know, you, ladies and gentlemen, you probably wish I'd shut up, but I can't. Because Gabor Mate, in his last book, I believe his last book, The Myth of Normal, talks a lot about biopsychosocial. It does not make any sense to me that you could ever make a biopsychosocial argument for this transition. The only argument you could ever make is against why this transition and this kind of ethos of working handicapped people would ever, you can't use the biopsychosocial argument. You can only use it to destroy it. So when you hear things like biopsychosocial, excuse me, they sound maybe above you, right? Like, what does that mean? What is biopsychosocial? That's really big. I'm not a psychiatrist. I have no way, you know, no. Your biology is your biology, your psychology is your psychology, and your sociology is your environment, right? It's where you live. It's what you do. It's the things that go on around you, okay? And biologically, stress, which is all 80,000 people are feeling right now, stress is a destructive force. And that's all this does. Psychologically, therefore, it damages you because you're stressed and you're in fear and every negative emotion is pouring out of you. And not only that, you're disabled. So can you handle it the way, you know, a brain that has, you know, all its synapses working all at once? Well, even that brain couldn't handle it. That brain would start to atrophy and destroy itself because it can't live every day in a negative environment, in negative impact, right? The environment you live in is both your immediate environment, meaning if you live with someone, are they good for you? Are they bad for you? Do they lift you up or put you down? Right? That's one element of it. And then on a broader scale, your environment is what is happening in society. Is society healthy? Is it a healthy ethos? Right? And think about it this way. You have a petri dish, right? You put, let's say, you into it, right? A healthy, in so much as you're healthy, a healthy individual. And then you introduce one, what would you call it? Like one potential negative thing into that, right? Well, you go back to that petri dish a week later, so you live in the petri dish and everything's fine. They introduce one harmful element into the petri dish, and you come back to that the next week, and everything is corrupted. You see what I mean? Like the entire thing is full of mold and things that are going to destroy the mechanism of life, right? Which was its introduction. And this is our environment. We're basically in a petri dish with so many horrible things in our environment that it's destroying our minds, our bodies, and our entire lives. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Biopsychosocial is not wizardry. It's not magic. It's, you know, it's your biology, right? What's inside you, your psychology, how you think, and your environment. And there is no argument anywhere for this transition being good for the health of the mind, or the body, and it is a destructive in its environmental impact, meaning your environment, meaning what you live in. So I hope that makes sense. I couldn't not but say something there, because that is a complete fuckery of the belief of what we know as human beings. That they would ever have to talk about biopsychosocial markers and then attribute anything good to this transition. A military contractor, for Christ's sake, trying to make a biopsychosocial argument. Mm-hmm. How you can't do that. You know, it's like the devil trying to discuss love. He can't do it. He doesn't know love. All he knows is hate and destruction. Okay. Thanks.
All right. So that the biopsychosocial assessment that they're going to be doing is a direct instrument level link to the UK parallel that we have so far drawn this year. So it's a direct link to what's already happening in the UK. But it is one member's account. And I want to make sure that I say that clearly. We haven't had anybody else come back and say that this assessment is being, offered across the board, nothing. All right. So just as a breakdown of what that biopsychosocial assessment is a comprehensive clinical evaluation used by healthcare and mental health professionals to understand a person's physical and mental health by looking at biological, psychological, and social factors. And it's based on a model introduced by Dr. George Engel in 1977. It views a person as a whole rather than focusing on just one set of symptoms. So whether or not it's acceptable for us, I don't know, just that it's being rolled out.
Well, no, it is. Okay, so here's what they're doing. They're looking at your biopsychosocial metrics to determine whether or not, like, what kind of work you could do, or where, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it seems like to me. I don't know, or what proclivities you have, or whatever. They're not looking at it because they want to make you a better person. They're looking at it for a specific, their own ideological reason, which is to get you to work. But that's not why you would ever look at biopsychosocial. You would look at it because you would just want the best for that person, right? Let's take a look at your biology. What's wrong with you? Well, some of your epigenetics, you know, these are your triggers, right? These are your epigenetic triggers, right? So what does your psychology look like? Well, you're very stressed a lot. That could be an element that triggers the epigenetic. So we want to take care of your psychology. What are you stressed out about? I don't know, getting a fucking job? Okay, then let's take away the job part, because that will trigger the body into a negative. But that's not what they're doing. They're pointing everything towards their ideology. And it doesn't work, because it can't work, because the whole thing is it's the reverse of what they're using it for. It wouldn't be to get you a job. It would be to make you healthy. You see what I mean? I gotta. Go ahead.
So the key components to that test, and again, the original member that came forward and said about her daughter getting that phone call, they said that it was a 3-hour assessment. That this meet and greet between the person at ADAP and her daughter was a 3-hour thing. Now, how anybody can conclude anything on a 3-hour assessment, it's mind-boggling. But anyways, so they look at biological factors.
It's not just that. If someone has a problem biologically, psychologically, or sociologically, 3 hours is too long. It's not enough, Chantal, yes, but it's too long at once. That person isn't going to last 10 minutes. It's fluid. A 3-hour assessment? Are you fucking nuts? That's going to put me into stress. That's going to put me into biological terror. Having to go through 3 hours. I can't handle that.
With a stranger that you've never met until that day.
Exactly.
And then they're going to be asking you all of these information.
And you have agoraphobia. You can only last so long in a room with other people. And they're just, you know what I mean? So, no, the whole thing is a destructive force done in language in which most people won't even understand, because they can't question it because they don't understand it, even though it's very simple. Biopsychosocial is not that hard to understand. And then people look, they're taking care of them biologically, psychologically, and sociologically. You know what I mean? They have nobody understands what that means. Because if they did, this transition would be done away with. Because it's harmful in every one of those 3 metrics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But just to break down the different categories that they're going to be probably asking questions in, and I can pull examples of what these questions or what these assessments look like and post it to the group. I don't have a problem with that. So under biological factors, they're going to ask things like medical history and past illnesses, current prescription medications and use of substances or alcohol, genetic links and family health history. Under psychological factors, they're going to look at your emotional state, mood patterns and coping skills, past mental health diagnoses and treatments, history of trauma or cognitive function. Under social factors, family dynamics and personal relationships, employment status, work history and financial stability, living situation, community support, and cultural background. So that's what they're going to be really looking at during that 3-hour assessment. And why it's used. So it gives them a whole person view. It recognizes that physical and mental struggles are rarely happen in a vacuum, and that these 3 areas affect one another, which is fine. Good. They're going to educate themselves. Better treatment plans. It helps therapists, counselors, and social workers figure out the root cause of distress to make a precise diagnosis and care plan, which in this case wouldn't be the case because this is an ADAP worker looking to get you into the employment world.
Exactly. Right? Like, please, ladies and gentlemen, understand the lie. They lie on its face. It's not a lie under the ground. It's a lie. It's really like, you know, skywriting on a plane in the fucking clouds. And why are we not looking at this? You cannot use a biopsychosocial argument in the way they want to do it, because biology, psychology, and sociology are about what creates the best conditions for the human being, not for work. Because they've already determined years ago that you can't work. That's why you're on AISH.
Yeah,
so you can't.
Right.
So that determination has already been determined, set in stone for antiquity. Why? Because it's fair. Why? Because it's scientific. Why? Because it's proper psychology. It is just the right thing to do, given all of those things. Given your biology, your psychology, and your sociology. Now they're taking those 3 things and using them for you to get a job. You see what I mean? Like, how do I explain this any better? Have I done a decent job?
I think so.
Okay, well, I'm trying to figure that out because maybe I'm just frustrated in my own head because it makes me so, fucking angry. Mm-hmm. Because I know this. I know, you know, if I know the Heritage Fund, I know biopsychosocial markers. Now, I don't know them the way a psychiatrist might or a scientist, right? Might. Or a clinician might. But I know it enough to know that you can never attach these 3 markers to an ideology, to your own personal outcome. They have only ever been used and are only ever supposed to be used to determine the best conditions for the human species.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so, the 3rd reason why this would be used is as an initial intake tool. It is normally completed during the first meeting or intake process at a healthcare or behavioral health practice. So my question there is then why is a third-party contractor who is supposed to be looking at employment activation wanting to know about all of my health information when they're not accredited to be able to do that?
Sorry, and who's looking at it?
Well, it would be the people through ADAP. So when you get a call from AKG or CERCO, that's who's doing these intakes.
And these are not psychiatrists, these are not biologists, these are not sociologists. Right.
Could you imagine how many you would have to have and hire in order to do these for tens of thousands of people?
So,
or is that why they're only taking 400 at a time?
So once again, man, like this is ammunition, ladies and gentlemen. Like you need these arrows in your quiver when you're approached. because these people are not professional, number one, sorry, I should state number one before, number one. Number two, they don't understand what it is they're engaged in. They don't understand the process. They're not professional, right? So number three, they're going to use this information, right, like they say, right? A little information is a lot dangerous. And that's what we're in the hands of here. They have a little information like they think they're smart. Like they think because they understand anything about the biopsychosocial, which they don't understand a fucking thing about it, because if they did, they wouldn't have their job. Right? They'd never undertake that position because they know better how that's going to affect people biologically, psychologically, and sociologically. Right? Mm-hmm. And then, so you need to be able to go in and describe to them what they don't know. And what they don't know is that you can't take something that is meant for the holistic betterment of the species and apply it to some perceived outcome or some second principle or third principle. It is only in alignment with the betterment of a species that we ever understand this. Now, once you understand that and you bring it to them, they're not going to understand what the fuck you're talking about. You are going to look to them like you have three heads. And trust me about that. I have talked to so many people that look at me like, I don't know, those are really big words, Gavin. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, that's not my problem. That's your problem. You see, and they try to gaslight you, trying to make you feel bad about what you know that they don't.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're talking the political class.
Well, no, I'm talking like people. I've had conversations with friends or people that I thought were friends. That their ignorance somehow trumps my knowledge. You know what I mean? So they'll look at me and they'll go, you know, Gavin, the reason, like, when you write things on Facebook, you know, people question you is because you use too big of words. I'm like, well, that's not my problem. That's their problem. They don't have a handle on the English language. And so you're going to be addressed that way. You're going to be addressed like you don't know what you're talking about. But the more you do know what you're talking about, the more you can defeat, you know, people that don't know what they're talking about. I don't have time to teach the course today, but we got to know this, ladies and gentlemen. We got to know what our power is, what our strength is. We have to be armed with knowledge and information. You know, the wisdom of understanding biopsychosocial is to be able to use it against other people that don't know better than you. Right? I want to talk for the next 6 hours on this, but I can't. I'm shutting up now.
Yeah, so that brings us into our final point. So before an assessment, ask in writing what is collected, what is disclosed back to the program, and how long it is kept and under what authority. Complaints go to the Information and Privacy Commissioner, not the program itself. So yeah, that is the end of segment 7. So if that's the assessment that they're talking about, you know, you get one free assessment, you know, as to help you get back on AISH. I don't see that helping any of us. No,
because the assessment, if like you said, if this is what the assessment is, then the assessment is structured or scaffolded or founded on a complete misnomer of the human species. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's funny, I've been looking at the chat a little bit. Everybody's gone 100% quiet, like for the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I would love to hear what we think about this. Like, if you understand what it is I'm saying. You know, I know sometimes I can maybe reach a point where, you know, philosophically or on some of these things, people can go, well, I don't even know what he's talking about. I get that. But, you know, that's not because I don't think you understand. I say it because I think you do understand, and I would love to know what you think. You know, like, are you grabbing the concept of this? The entire thing of AISH, ADAP, or this transition and the elements that Chantal's discussed, are based on a fabricated lie, excuse me, of the human, of what we know of humanity, of what we know of everything, every piece of information we've collected over the last 100 years. It is founded on a complete lie. So, and I'm not saying that because, like, that's not conspiracy, that's truth. That's what we know from Freud, that's what we know from Jung, that's what we know from, you know, psychological testing, that's what we know from you know, sociology, it's what we know from biology. Any doctor will tell you, yes, stress will kill you. We all know that. So, Certainty said, so I hear you loud and clear, and I'm as angry as you, how they think they have the audacity to conduct these assessments on us. Well, yeah, I mean, to begin with, right, in the first place. But how they have the audacity of ignorance is my greatest anger, right? Like, because the audacity is not to just do the thing, it's the audacity of their ignorance, that they literally don't know what they're talking about. And they have no foundation for it. And if you fight them on the foundation, they'll look at you like I just looked at you. Mm-hmm. They'll be glib, they'll be ignorant, because they still think somehow they know more than you. And this is why we need to fight back. That's why I'm looking for somebody to cut videos so that we can get this all over the world. Because this is the ignorance of what people don't know. And I couldn't be, I'm sure you hear it in my voice, I couldn't be more angry. I don't get angry much. This angers me because it is a complete and utter lie. Like, utterly, I don't even know how to express, you know? It's akin to, I own a Lamborghini. I don't own a Lamborghini. So if I ever came to you and said I own a Lamborghini, I would be lying. With everything that Chantal has read in the last 15 minutes, it is akin to, I own a Lamborghini. It is a complete and utter lie. It is not the reality of my life, and none of this is the reality of our lives. KLN Nielsen, I'll call you Nielsen if that's okay, says yes. Okay? Yes. You know, I'm sorry, Chantal, I know, you know, you love to, you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm breaking the flow everywhere today. I can't help it. I cannot help it. Okay. Shutting up once again. People, please like, share, and subscribe if you don't mind. For all those reasons I indicate, you know, always and ever. Go ahead, Chantal. Sorry.
No worries. All right. So appeals, the map, the clock, and the missing piece. So this segment has saved members from closed doors 3 times last week. So treat it as a public service block, right, for everybody. So the map corrected. So the AISH Medical Review Panel makes the AISH medical determination. That decision is final and not appealable in the government's own words. Okay, so the adjudicator's decision not to refer an application to the medical review panel is appealable to the ADAP medical appeal panel within 30 days. So a full ADAP denial is also appealable. The only thing that we couldn't appeal 100% was the transition from AISH to ADAP itself, and that was after July 2nd. Big one there, okay? Because that's when everything came into place, that we could not appeal that decision, but we could appeal it before, which is what they didn't want us to be able to find out. All right, so separately, there is a 12-month window to submit new information without a fresh application. 2 clocks, do not conflate them, okay? So there you go. The Citizen Appeal Panel continues to hear non-medical appeals regarding living allowance, health benefits, child benefit, and most personal benefits. Okay, so the transition itself is not appealable under Bill 12. S 12.8 says so expressly. Okay. So the notes that I work off of, right, that I have leagues of, at one point said that the medical appeal panel did not exist and was an unsourced error. Okay, so that note was itself the error. The panel is real and sourced from the livealberta.ca ADAP page and a dedicated section in the July policy manual. So the published documents named it directly. Only my internal notes were stale, right? Because everything has been in flux now for months, right? So the medical review panel in the August 2025 discussion guide, medical appeal panel by May 2026. Okay, so the terminology moved. Okay, and we've documented the shift. Okay, so everything's up to date as it stands right now. So Bill 12, the appeal right is S10.11, and verbatim, a person affected by a decision of a director may appeal it if A, the decision is not exempt from appeal under the regulations, and B, the appeal is made in writing to an appeal panel within 30 days after the date on which the person receives notice of the decision. So there we go, it's locked in. Here is what changed, and it is a finding in its own right. So the former act ran the 30 days from when the person was notified of the decision and of the right to appeal it. The amended section drops that second clause. So and the right to appeal it. So they're not telling us what our rights are. So the clock now runs from notice of the decision alone. You've gone quiet.
Yeah, I have, because I know I've talked a lot, and I'm right with you, and I am amening everything you say. But I want you to continue. I've said what I have to say about that, and I'm getting great feedback that I'll read in the comments. Some really great salient feedback, and you know, I just want people to understand that, Chantal. Like, this is where my heart hurts, man. Like, it really, this is where I can cry, because they're lying so badly to you and to me and to us, and I can't help it. Like, I'm on good, you know, antidepressants, and I feel like crying right now. I really do, because it's so wrong. I don't know how to say it, you know. Go ahead. Yeah.
So the argument that the clock has not started because nobody told you about the appeal right is weaker in the amended statute than it was. It still has a home in the policy manual, which keeps the older phrasing, do not rely on it, note the date you were told, and file anyway. So S10.13, the minister may extend the time if satisfied there are apparent grounds and a reasonable explanation for the delay. May is the operative word, not must. So the standing rule, to give everybody here, is when two people tell you different things and one of them involves waiting, file first. Filing does not stop any other process. It preserves your right while everything else carries on. And this week, a member was told to appeal by one office and to wait by another. Waiting does not pause the status. All right. And then what was preserved and what was not. So under Bill 12, S12.5, an appeal of an eligibility determination filed and not decided before the section came into force continues under the former act. The bar commenced July 2nd, and anyone who filed before then should be asking in writing whether their appeal is being dealt with under S12.5 and the former act rules. that question forces a category. So my first advice given on this was that transition appeals were barred, full stop. The bar commenced July 2nd, and S12.5 preserved what was already filed. So everybody that filed before the end of June, so June 30th, it's going to be time to start reaching out and saying, hey, have you guys looked at my appeal yet? And I'll be posting a letter that is already all ready to go under the email a letter tab on the website, probably either tonight or tomorrow, just so that we can start getting the ball rolling on that. Because we did have the right to appeal, and now we have to make them prove it that they took that right from us. And then it's just more documentation that puts them in the ground, not us. It's like, oh.
No, I'm here. I'm just kind of going through my own thoughts right now too. And I'm not, it doesn't make me depressed, any of this. It makes me sad. That's what I feel. If anybody wants to know what's going through my mind right now, it's sadness. It's a legitimate sadness. Because we're so lied to. And I can't wait to tell these people how fucking wrong they are. I mean, when somebody calls me or when I have to go in for a meeting or whatever it is, I can't wait to tell you how fucking wrong you are. And I'll do it. And I'll mean it.
I think a lot of us need to start doing it.
We need to start doing that. Telling a person they're wrong, I mean, unless you become belligerent and they need to throw you out of their office, you can say whatever the fuck you want, man. And that's why knowledge is dangerous. Because once you have it, you can use it. And their little bit of knowledge just shows how many, bullets aren't in their chamber. You know what I mean? Because they're going to shoot one or two of them at you, and they're going to miss. You know what I mean? And then, I hate to make these analogies. These aren't the right analogies to make, because I don't mean anything violent, right? I don't mean it in any sense of violence. It's just an analogy. But
no, it's hard to pull the wool over somebody's eyes that are seeing clearly.
Right. Yeah. If you've cut, the hair above your eyes, well, then there's no wool to pull it over. And that's what getting knowledge is, right? It's trimming so that you can see clearly and so that nobody can pull that down over your eyes. God damn it, I like your analogies. Far better than mine. You one smart cookie. You know that? You one smart cookie.
I just think about how I would explain it to one of my kids. And I simplify it and I make it relatable.
Right. Yeah, I make mine for you have to be a military personnel to figure it out. No, I love that. And you're right. That's why you need to keep your eyebrow or your bangs cut, ladies and gentlemen. If I could add to that. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So what cannot be appealed, and the conflict is now resolved. So correction that I'm going to own. Earlier campaign material said Act S44 lists what cannot appealed. The AISH Act has no Section 44. Its sections run to about S13. The only 44 anywhere in it is a cross-reference to S44-2 of the Alberta Personal Income Tax Act, a different statute entirely, used to define the Alberta escalator. So that citation would not survive 30 seconds of challenge, and it is gone. So I like to walk through a lot of these legislations and materials from the government. And if it tells me, hey, you'll see this under this act, I jump to it and I'll go and read it and then come back. So when I was making my notes, I wrote it down as it being part of the same AISH Act, and it wasn't. It was, hey, go over here. I didn't write it as such. So, of course, I always own when I, misnote something or I write something that's not right, because that's the whole thing of being credible here. So There is no Section 44 in the AISH Act. It ends at S13. And the reference that I ended up pulling was regarding the Alberta Personal Income Tax Act, which ends up showing up in the AISH Act. And I jumped to that without, highlighting that for everybody. So there you go. I've corrected it. The exempt from appeal list is Section 6 of AR 89 2027. As repealed and replaced in full by the AR 87 2026, which was made by Ministerial Order 2026-001. So, and that's the one that came into effect on the 2nd. So health benefit decisions of the health benefit, what is it? HBEC. I didn't write the longhand of that. Of course I didn't. Kind are exempt from appeal by regulation, with resubmission available where the situation changed or where or there is new or compelling information. So a member was told to ring the appeal secretariat about a 30-day clock on one of these, and that was wrong, and it was corrected. But I can't remember what that. I absolutely hate all of these abbreviations. I want to know what that is. Okay, so the Health Benefits Exemption Committee. There we go.
Is that the HEVC or whatever?
Yeah, the Health Benefits Exemption Committee is the longhand of that acronym. I hate that.
Yeah,
I'm starting to hate them.
So like HVAC, like, how you get air conditioning into your house. That's what it sounded like to me.
Exactly, and it's like, oh my God, I'm starting to get acrophobic, okay?
What is
that
that?
Be a thing? Ooh, a fear of acronyms.
Oh, what did you call it?
Acrophobic.
Acrophobic. Yeah, no shit, right? Like, I mean, wow, like, it started out as cute. It started out like, oh, what's that? And now I'm so fucking done with acronyms, man. I just, if there's an acronym factory that all this be, I want to blow it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm done with acronyms. Do you want, if I go to the chat, do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to finish anything off before we go, or?
I could probably go really quick. So the July manual states that benefit cuts for failing client responsibilities are not appealable. The regulation analysis said that they were, and that set unreconciled, okay? So reading the current consolidation of AR 89 2027 as amended by AR 87 2026, the only benefit cut decision the exempt list covers is a deduction under S15 1BI of the general regulation, which is the failure to claim or assign CPP or old age security. It does not exempt S15-4, the ADAP employment obligations, nor the other client responsibility grounds in S15-1A, S15-2, and S15-3.
Okay. Yeah, that's
a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
All right.
It's a lot.
The things that work under the exemption list is failure to claim or assign CPP or old age security. It does not exempt, which is a big one, it does not exempt the ADAP employment obligations, nor the other client responsibility grounds.
Okay.
And that's for us. So that's the grounds that we have to follow in order to receive ADAP.
So in a nutshell, what are we talking about? What is the alpha and omega of that, if you will?
So, where is it here? So the benefit cut decision.
Okay.
So for them to stop our benefits, right? If they stop our benefits, there is an exempt list that covers a decision under it, right? So if, let's say, we decide, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play ball. I'm going to go do my own thing, right? If they come back and say, okay, fine, then we're cutting your benefits and you're not going to get your check, right? We have no leg to stand on under that exemption list in terms of the ADAP employment obligations, nor the other client responsibility grounds. So
Okay.
all of the responsibilities and shit that they're putting on us from ADAP
Right.
is not covered under that exemption list. So if they cut our benefits, that's it. Our benefits are cut.
Okay.
There's nothing that we can do about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in a sense, in a nutshell, play ball, but don't be happy and speak your mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Basically.
Yeah, like play ball because you have to in as much as you possibly can, right? There may come a point where just biopsychosocially you might have to tell them to fuck off, right? That you've had enough, and there should be a conversation around that. You know, like, well, how would you like me to fuck off then? You know, like there has to be a greater conversation. But once again, this is so anathema to the human species that I don't even, it breaks my heart. It literally breaks my heart. I'm gonna go to the chat, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And just for the sake of it, people, you know, just on a lighter note, if people are wondering, I see Gavin smelling his arm again today, why? It's because today I'm Aqua Sapphire. Okay, Boadicea, the victorious Aqua Sapphire, a beautiful scent. Don't buy it; it'll break the bank. But that's what I'm wearing today, and I really need to smell something than to just stew in my own juices today. I can tell you that.
Well, that and it's a sensory input, right?
It is. That's exactly.
So, and because you're sad and disappointed and pissed off about all of what we've been talking about, it's okay to need to re-regulate through scent.
Well, that's exactly why I like, you know, high haute couture perfume, because because I like to go somewhere. You know what I mean? Like it gets me, it cleanses my palate. You know, if I go like this, I'm reset in a sense. You know, I'm okay. Something in the world, something in the world is good right now, and it might be the only thing that is good is my wrist. But
my daughter does the same thing with her blanket.
Right, and you know, I mean, you know, you can call me a baby, like maybe I should grow up, but I think we all do it, even into our adulthood. You know, and not only that, it's purely psychological. Something has to regulate you. That's why people eat too much. It's why, you know what I mean? Like because they regulate upon regulating. You know, and this is just how I regulate, and it just so happens that it smells.
I know, I picked up on that a long time ago.
I know you did, and I guess mine is just kind of in your face, right? You'll see me like that every once in a while. But aromatherapy, thanks, Laura Lee.
There you go.
That's exactly what it is. So going back to the chat, let me take a few of these. We don't need much. Okay, so we got the. I play guitar. I won't be using that. How will they treat people that don't have a? How will they treat people that don't have a grade 12 education, or even people with a criminal record? I think you're asking that. Well, that's a good point. I mean, as a person with a disability, like as a person with a criminal record, there aren't many things you can do, man. You're screwed if you try to go, and anyway. You go to Home Depot, you go to any corporation, you ain't getting hired. Unless you lie. But then if you need a record check, you're fucked anyway. So, you know, you can't even lie in that case, right? Because everybody wants a criminal check these days. The only thing you can do are very few things that don't require a criminal check, such as, let's say, landscaping. A lot of those guys don't give a shit. Right? If you're going to shovel snow, they don't care. You know, you could beat the guy next to you over the head with a shovel and, you know, it's not much liability for them. They don't care, is my point. However, if you have a disability, and let's say it's a lung, extremity, you know, limb disability, you can't fucking shovel a foot in front of you. So you're not going to be good for that job. So there has to be some, I don't know what you call it, leeway, understanding, loophole, whatever you want to call it, for people that have a criminal record. And yeah,
absolutely. And there's different avenues for it. But ADAP isn't guaranteeing employment. They're not pulling job postings down and going, hey, this sounds like a good fit for you. You should apply for it. Or here, contact this guy. You start Monday. That's not what ADAP's doing. They're doing employment activities. So they're going to teach us how to write a resume using AI, how to job search, how to apply for jobs, how to write a cover letter, how to do a interview. Like, it's all very meaningless fucking bullshit. But that's what we are expected to do in terms of participation.
Right.
They're not expecting us to find jobs. That's unrealistic.
Well, and
Right.
but Chantal, in some ways, and I hate to say this way, but the alternative could be worse. If they promised you a job at the end of it, that could be better than the fact that you're left to your own devices, you know, and you say, I have a criminal record, and they don't go, I don't give a shit, we want 20 job applications filled out per month, and we don't care what that does to you psychologically, getting turned down every fucking time you send one. We don't care that it's work for you, like meaningless work for you, you know, that brings no meaning into your life, that doesn't make you feel human, that doesn't make you feel like you are an asset to society. All of these things are destructive to you, and they're wholly unnecessary. So in a sense, the fact that there's nothing at the end of this for you, you could almost say is worse than not knowing, right? I'm not saying either is good, and I'm not saying one is worse than the other. I'm saying they both suck. They're both stupid. They're both ignorant, like ignorant, man. Laura Lee, can she refuse? Can she refuse? If I go up, let me see, I play guitar, we don't have Microsoft. Can she refuse? I guess you're just saying, can she refuse what, the work program? Like,
she could, but then she risks being kicked off of ADAP, and then what?
You know, yeah, and so what's the best thing? Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we don't know how important our contribution is. I didn't ask off the top of this show and mention it once or twice that I need somebody to help me edit so that we can get this out there. Is it because I want to be rich and famous? No, we don't ask for a goddamn dime, and we never would off this program. It has nothing to do with that. I've already been minorly famous. I don't need it anymore. I hate it. It was sickening to feel it, to work in those rooms, to work around people that had way too much privilege. I'm done. I'm 60. You know, I can play drums on a beach in Mexico for the rest of my life and be completely satisfied with my life. I don't need any of it. The reason that I need to do this is because, you know, like when you ask, can my daughter, whatever you said there, can she refuse? Well, no, not really. But this is why we're trying to fight, because ultimately she shouldn't have to refuse or accept or deny, or this shouldn't be a part of her life. And that's what we fight. That's what we're fighting. So, you know, I'll put it out there again. If there's anybody that likes to cut video, you know, from 3 hours into 30 seconds, let me know, because I can give you a lot of work. And I can't pay you because I don't get paid. But, you know, if it makes you feel like engaged in your life, only if it does, then hit me up, because we're trying to get this out there. And, you know, somebody I'll go on to read says, well, I guess we're screwed. Well, or it's a grieving process. And in a sense it is, but a grieving process leads to the acceptance of a negative, like of something, you know what I mean? Like, what do I do? Like, do I grieve to accept that I'm on ADAP and there's nothing? No, it's less a grieving process as it is going the opposite direction. I'm not looking to accept anything, I'm looking to not accept it. And I guess maybe that's just as much part of grieving is, you know what I mean? Grieving doesn't need to lead to one outcome, it can lead to another outcome. It can lead to agency just as much as it can lead to acceptance. You see what I mean? So we fight. I'm all about this. Like, I can't think of a more necessary fight. And this Nielsen, you know, like I kind of dig what what they're laying down here. Annette says this government is totally fucking screwed. Yeah. And we don't need to, I mean, you can say it as many times as you want. It's probably good you do, because it'll just, you know, keep in the game. But we don't need to say it to convince ourselves anymore. Nah. I'm thoroughly convinced. And now what do I do about that? That's me, right? Like, yeah, the government is a literal piece of shit. Where do we go, right? Nielsen says, the scientific study of the biological and psychological basis of behavior, mental processes, and the mind-body connection. Right, which, you know, Nielsen, if you're still here, in terms of the Enlightenment, you know, had us believe that the mind and the body were disconnected, right? I mean, Jesus, how could we ever believe such a ridiculous notion? And now we're coming back, right? However you process it, right? The age of the condor and is it the falcon? No, the condor and the, shit, I forget. But you know, where we marry the two parts of ourselves, the spiritual with the pragmatic, right? And that the human mind and body mean as much to us as, you know, mathematics, right? Or the purely tangible things, right? We've lost that so much. And then Nielsen says biological psychology, also called biopsychology or behavioral neuroscience. Yes. Yep. And Certainty says the deceit that they have perpetually given to us is heartbreaking. And, you know, yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking. You know, heartbreaking for me doesn't mean that, what'd you say, you know, that the deceit that they have perpetually been giving to us. It's about the us that breaks my heart. It's not about me and what they're doing to me. It's about me multiplied, right? And that's where my heart starts to break. It's the multiplication of lie, spread across, an entire species and demographic and cohort that breaks my heart. Laura Lee, it's like a grieving bride. I think I acknowledge that. Yeah, it's about a grieving process for another outcome than acceptance, right? Aromatherapy, yes. Blue collar labor, yeah, in which, what are we going to do, Certainty? Like, you know, like some people love blue collar labor and I don't, right? So, you know, once again, it's anathema to the human species, right? Some of us are musicians, some of us are actors, some of us are neuroscientists, some of us are, you know, rocket scientists, right? And so what do? Grab a shovel? No, fuck. No, come on. Certainty, impossible when you have a physical disability. That's it. Impossible. Sam. Good to see you. Maybe you were in this before and I read you, but it's good to see you, Sam. Oops, I fell asleep. Damn. It's okay. I probably would be sleeping right now if I wasn't doing this. Annette says, like, for fuck's sake, I had worked 11 years ago at a cushy job. Now my lungs are kaput. There's no way I could do heavy manual labor. Well, you're not, you know, this is what we have yet to ascertain, right, Chantal? Like, we don't know that, like, nobody's going to force you to do something you can't do. But they may force you to do other things that are redundant and unnecessary, like, well, we still want you to send out 20 resumes to snow shoveling companies. You see what I mean? Like, I don't know, because none of us know what that looks like yet. But if it's anything like what we knew in the 80s with welfare, then that's what you had to do. You know, you had to put in 20 resumes a week or a month or whatever it was about shit you'll never do and get turned down. And in our cohort, the assumption with welfare was that you could work, you just had it, you know, you had a rough period, right? But we've already been, we're not having a rough period, we're having a rough life. Like, you know what I mean? We'll be the same today as we are at point X, right? As the last day. And I think there's assumption, although it's a lie, and they're lying to themselves. But if you want to take it like that, their assumption is that we're no different than the welfare dude, you know, that is just having a rough day. No, fucking idiot. Like, we're not having a rough day. We are as good at the end of our lives as we will be right now. Although there is something we all could engage in, but it may be nothing that you offer. And therefore, our entire civilization or society is structured on not the best for humanity. Because you should be offered the thing that you love. And if that's nothing, then it's nothing. I find it hard to believe that. I find it hard to believe that there's not something in every human being that they would love to do, but it's certainly probably not shoveling, you know? It may be like me, like podcasting or music like I used to do. Chantal, crunching numbers, getting to the bottom of things. It could be, you know, like investigating, you know, like Chantal, or journalism, you know, writing books. Whatever it is, like I can't name everything there is in the world, but there's something you love, there's something every human being loves, and that they would give their lives to do. But our society isn't based on that, and what they're saying is, I don't give a shit what you like, here's a shovel. But for somebody like you, you'll never shovel. So you just have to send out resumes to get rejected for shoveling. And that says, you're famous to us, Chantal and Gavin. Yeah. No, we're just people. We're just, you know, like we're two frustrated people just like you are. Too angry, you know, resentful people that want the best for ourselves and want the best for humanity. And y'all are no different. And we're not famous. And we don't want to be famous. Because because you're famous, ADAP. Like, you're famous. And what does that mean? You know, because you're going to, you know, anybody would argue me, well, I don't have a podcast and I don't, it's not about that. You are amazing in your own right, and you can do great things, and you have done great things, and you will continue to do great things in your life. And this is what we bled from us as a society, right? Is the fact that everyone is a celebrity and no one is. Everyone is famous and nobody is. We have constructed an entire world and societies on lies, that I somehow am better than somebody else because I do a thing. That is so wrong. It's so horrible to what we know of the human species. It's not true. You know, I play drums all over the world. And I think I've been talking about this lately, you know, like, you know, people saw the outcome of what I do, and they say, well, you know, that's amazing. But what they don't see is the 20 years it took me, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, for 20 years to get to that point where you get to just see the moment. You know what I mean? You don't see the hard work. You don't see what it took. And even in that, I'm not, there's nothing praiseworthy about that. I just was stubborn enough to, and loved that enough to do it. That's it. There's no celebrity, right? You can do amazing things. I bet you there's somebody in this chat or somebody watching this show that could be Brad fucking Pitt in their own right. Or, well, he's not even a great actor, so, you know, who could I say? Al Pacino, you know? Dustin Hoffman. We have them. They're probably here in this chat, for God's sake. Egale, says Nielsen, do you mean like egalitarianism? Is that what it, because that word, oh, the egale, the eagle and the condor. Thank you, my God. Nielsen knows the eagle and the condor. Oh, fuck, like who knows the eagle and the condor? That's quite, I'm, should I say impressed, or I'm just thankful? I don't know, but The Eagle and the Condor. Fucking A. Thanks, Nielsen. You might have read then Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Let me know if you've read that book. That's where I got The Eagle and the Condor from. Hello all. Nicole! Holy crap. It's Nicole, Chantal.
Mm-hmm.
Says, hello all. I'm way late. Trying to watch now. Have a great evening. Hey, man, we're just thankful you're here. Good to see you. And that's the chat. Nielsen, if you're still here, let me know if you've read that book. I'd be really quite, that's a lot of people haven't read that, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. I've read both books, and amazing books. They'll tell you why. He'll spell out the last 100 years. It was through the time of the Six Sun series. Oh, okay. It was through the, okay. Okay, I don't know that series, but I came across it from Confessions of an Economic Hitman. So, where are we at, Chantal? We're 3 hours in?
Yep. And I think we've still got, where is it here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 segments left, but we can always pick up those tomorrow.
Do you want to leave them?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Once again, this thing that Chantal and I have going here, this podcast, if you will, I love it. And I say that, humbly, because it's not because of me or anything I do that I love it. What I love is the fact that, Chantal can bring the goods, just the hard hitting facts, and then we discuss them. What does that mean in real terms? What does that mean to the species? What does that mean biopsychosocially, right? And so, sometimes we won't get all the way through a thing, but the fact that we can have a conversation based on it, that we can understand it better than just the raw material, right? We can actually take, the cow and make hamburger, if you will. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but whatever. That's what we do. And I am so thankful that Chantal is the kind of person that she is, that we can do this, It means a lot to me because God knows I like to talk. Holy crap, I can talk, Anyway, I won't talk about how much I can talk. How's that? Let me see here. So, I would say, like, share, subscribe to this podcast. I hope you all got something out of today. And I hope you all, feel like you did. This is why I love the chat so much, because we talk back and forth. It's not, because it's not about Chantal and I. It's about everybody. Please let me know if anybody wants to reach out and they're good at editing and they want to edit. I would love to have a conversation with you. Oh my God.
Did you want to do your book club thing?
Fuck, that's what I forgot. What did you forget, Gavin? That. But that's okay. What I can do, and I'll have it tomorrow. God, I'll have a new book tomorrow. But for now, where is it? Right here. So I started the book club, and I thought about it last night laying in bed. I was like, okay, Soroshin, don't forget tomorrow. Put a new book up. And what did Soroshin do? He forgot to put the book up. So I'll have a new book coming at you tomorrow. I don't know which one. I'm thinking about Gabor Mate's The Myth of Normal. I think it would be so good for all of us to read that book. I mean, he gets into the biopsychosocial. So if you want to learn yourself something about that, the biopsychosocial markers in which you're being lied to about, that's this book. And The Myth of Normal, what we consider to be normal. And this is really where I got the idea that neurodivergent is what everyone that says are the people that came up with the term, not the people they describe, right? So you're describing somebody that what? Doesn't adhere to the status quo? That doesn't, you know, take no for an answer? Right? That pushes back against authority? And you're calling that neurodivergent? I'm calling that fucking historically Socratic. That's what I'm calling it. I'm calling that person Socrates. And you're calling it neurodivergent? No. Once again, you've just lied to us as a species. That's not neurodivergent. That's a smart human being. That's a human being that not only has knowledge, they have understanding, and they have wisdom. Meaning that they're not afraid to tell you to go fuck yourself. Now, does that mean we don't have a filter? No, please have a filter. You know, I mean, somebody comes up to me and they says, yeah, you know, I don't have a filter. I'm like, no, you're just an asshole. Like, you know, you should be able to know what to say and when to say it and when to stay away. But if you need to call somebody an asshole or you need to call something out, you should do so. And that's where knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, those three things come together, right? So the book is that we have been working on, although I don't know if anybody's read it, but I'm just going to keep throwing them out. Oops.
Alberta!
Right there we go. Hello. Bullshit Jobs by David Graeber. I'm reading David Graeber's other book. He has a few. And right now I'm reading his book, what is it? The Complete History of Almost Everything, I think it's called. It's a pretty funky title. But this is where I've come up with, you know, or been gotten the knowledge of different ways in which to do society that got me really thinking about how much we've got it wrong. But this book just basically gets into the professional managerial class and the typical AISH worker. It's just a bullshit job. It's redundancy. It doesn't do humanity any good. As a matter of fact, in the case of the AISH worker, it actually does a negative service. All right? And so it's a great book. It's a great read. Bullshit Jobs. Bullshit Jobs. There you go. So there's that. So I think we will. Let's go back to the chat to see if there's anything more. I love it because it's been so insightful and informative, says Annette. Well, we're glad, and you have been insightful and informative, Annette. Your comments have been that. So we love you. No, I haven't, says Nielsen, meaning the Confessions of an Economic Hitman. You know, if you like reading, it's a hell of a book. Laura Lee, love you all. Gotta run. Take care of each other. Enjoy your evening. Rose Heart Rose. And we love you. Nicole, hi Ivy. And Nicole, I'm only at the biopsychology test. Chat next podcast. I'm only at the biopsychology test. Oh, meaning you went back and you're listening? Maybe that's what you mean? That's fine. Yeah, you know, there's a lot there. So, anything, Chantal?
No.
Okay.
Just answering a few questions over Facebook, and yeah, I plan on going back to my novel after this.
Yeah, well, you're inspired, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage that in you. You know, if the books are anything like the covers, I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued because they have the element of fantasy, but you've explained some of it to me, and it's so complex. And yet complex, but with, you know, like I think in the novels you go on to explain all of the certain elements, you know what I mean? Like if you give it a 60,000 foot view, you're kind of going, what am I looking at? But you really get into the minutia and the understanding of it all. Yeah, quite something. So, ladies and gentlemen, we love you. At least I know I do, and I know Chantal does. You know, we really care, and that's the only reason we're doing this. So be good to yourselves, you know. You're wise people. You know, I read the comments and I read the chat, and there are no bad questions, there are no bad comments I ever see in this place. We're pretty smart cookies, every one of us. So treat yourself well. Treat each other well. It's not your fault. And it's not your neighbor's fault. It is somebody's fault. It's not theirs. Be safe. Be well. But most importantly,